nothing
Yeah.
else to do.
I thought him.
Go ahead and show us at 6:30. You're gonna show that. You want to go ahead and do the. If you want to go ahead and conduct our roll call, please.
District 2, Alderman Sam Cortez.
Here.
District 3, Alderman David Emery.
Here.
District 4, Michael Rodriguez.
Here.
And District 5, Charles Gate.
Okay, and just.
District 1 is absent today. Oh, no, yes, Mr. Morrow.
Thank you. Just so we can make it a matter of record. Thank you so much for taking care of that. Let's go ahead and proceed. If we can all rise, we'll go ahead and take care of our pledge of allegiance. Here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay, we got a full agenda today, so we definitely need to go ahead and take care of a few things. The first area that we have is citizens to be heard. This is the opportunity for citizens, visitors, and guests to address the city council on any issue or any item of the agenda in compliance with local government code section 551.007. City council may not discuss any presented issue, nor may take any action be taken in any issue at this time. Citizens be heard are limited to 3 minutes each. Attorney General Opinion JC 0169. So I do want to go ahead and take the opportunity to bring somebody forward that I invited them to come and address. It was a pretty neat experience that happened over at Saddle Ridge that I ran into these great, wonderful ladies that they were over welcoming folks that were coming into our community. So I would love the story to be told of these great ladies that have made a difference for years and continue to make a difference in our community. And they're some of our unsung heroes. So if I can have Rosemary and Jerry come on up and please tell your story to the council. It'd be great for them to know.
Well, thank you for inviting us. My name is Rosemary Jones. This is Geraldine Haslacker. And I first moved to Lytle in 1996. And when I did, 2 elderly ladies came to my door and brought me a little welcome gift. And they said, "Welcome to Lytle." And this is one of the original little ladies from 1996. She's 90 years old now. And so I'm going to let her have a word or two.
Yes, it's true. I'm 90 years old. For 30 years, I've been saying, "Welcome to life." And looks like it's working. Did you ever see so many people coming? And I just thank our mayor for inviting us over here to speak. He was coming to his son's house and he met us, and it was neat to see him. And we have a good mayor, and I see Ricky Peace and a lot of people here I know and don't know, but anyway, we feel welcome here. So Rosemary's going to give a little bit on what we do.
Okay. So basically, about a year or 2 ago, we started seeing all this information that a bunch of new homes are going to be built in Lytle. And I was like, wow, this is going to be overwhelming. We're going to have like a lot of new people here. And I'm like, what should I do? What's my part in this? And I started praying about it. And what really came to me was when I came to Lytle, somebody came and welcomed me. But we're on a place where there's like 2, 3, 5, 8 acres between people. And these houses are going to be like a lot of houses close together, a lot of new people all at one time. And I'm like, who's going to welcome these people? And I thought, since the Lord brought it to my mind, maybe I should be the one supposed to do it. And what kind of gift am I going to take them? Well, they brought me some homemade pears, but I'm not making homemade pears. And even if I did, they probably wouldn't eat them, because nowadays everybody's worried about being poisoned, you know? So I was looking for a little simple gift that would actually be meaningful. And I got this idea of these little bags. And then I put like, just a little notepad, because everybody can use a notepad, and a pen, because everybody can use a pen. And 3 little candies individually wrapped, so that you don't have to worry about being poisoned. And a local newspaper that's current, because a lot of people don't know we have a paper, or, you know, it's kind of interesting to see what's going on. And then we also put a very little book that is scriptures, and it has a little prayer in there. And so that's what I give. And I'm not being sent as a representative from anybody. It's just something I wanted to do, and that's something I can afford. And we go out and we put maybe 6 in the car, or maybe 10 if we're really feeling ambitious. And then for a while, like October, November, December, we couldn't give out hardly any because the interest rate went up and people quit moving into those houses. And I kept driving around, instead of seeing sold, I was seeing available. But we don't get to everybody because it's just whoever we can find. But the hope is that when we meet people and say, welcome to Lytle, here's a little gift. We hope you enjoy living here. We hope you enjoy, you know, our community. The hope is that that will be contagious, and that when somebody moves in next to them, they'll go greet them. And that you'll have the whole community spirit, you know, being developed, where people know neighbors and like neighbors and care about neighbors and talk to each other's neighbors and watch out for each other. So that was just what we're doing, and just give God the glory. That's it.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Mayor, for inviting.
No, stand right there with the little bag. Let's take a quick photo. I was taking a few photos. Stand right there. Let's see. It comes back. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Awesome.
We're smiling behind these masks.
Hey, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate what you guys do. Thank you. Thank you for making a difference in our
Mayor, let me
community.
make a quick comment. These young ladies will reach out to us tomorrow, sometime this week. We have tons of promo materials that we can give them, pins and stuff like that for their goodie bags on behalf of the city.
Where do we come to here
Come here to City Hall,
and ask for?
any of us, any of us. We've got tons to give out.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you so much for doing that, and thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate
But
that.
I didn't tell you, so far I was trying to count up, we've given out, between Grandberg and the Saddle Ridge, 128 bags.
Wow. 128 bags. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay, with that in mind, anybody else, any other citizens to be heard that are not on the agenda? Okay, let's go ahead and move on. And let's go ahead and go to item number 5, consent agenda. Consider the approval of the payment of the bills. You should have a list of the bills right in front of you.
Mayor, I'd like to start out with making a motion to approve the bills as submitted.
Okay, a motion on the floor for us to go ahead and approve the bills as presented. Got a second? Okay. Any further discussion?
They putting you work over at the park, or what's going on there?
We are gonna work on revamping the park.
Always, what's that? Where the ball is?
So the fencing over at the park behind the dugouts was in very poor shape and was a danger to the kids playing. So now we've done a lot of work. I say we bought the materials and Little League did the work and installed the new fencing, and then now they're running a guide wire across the bottom, and they're called hog rails. I bought them, but so they attach the fencing to that guide wire to keep the bottom from being able to get kicked out. Yeah, when they said hog rings, I was like, what? I don't need them, but matter of fact, I got them in my truck.
4-H over there or something.
Yeah. They've actually done a lot. We did a walkthrough with them, and when I saw their concerns, I saw big price tag numbers. But then when I priced everything and they got me on the pricing, it was really good. And they were actually able to find us a sponsor that's gonna help us next year and possibly revamp our fields.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Anything else discussion wise? All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, there you go, Lynette. Take care of business. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to number 6, open session, take action on items discussed. A, consider an act upon authorizing the city administrator to close and liquidate the certificate of deposit account number ending 2469 at Lido State Bank with funds totaling $250,000 and to transfer and deposit such monies to the city's general fund account number ending 0465.
So council, I need to liquidate that. We have 3 items, 2 of which you're gonna hear tonight on the agenda that were not budgeted items. 2 of those were brought forth by council and asked us to go ahead and seek and move forward on them. The third was our zoning map that needs to be updated. So in order to get those 3 accomplished, we need some money to do that, and this is the best place to find it. That's why I'm asking.
Do you have any history on the CD, when it was established?
They renew
Established,
every year,
how
so
long
when
it's
it,
been there?
when it renews, the history that we can see goes away. But it's nothing that we could find that's earmarked for anything. It's just CD 250,000. You know, when it was renewed in 2021, I believe was the last time it was renewed. There's no.
I don't know the history on it, David. I don't know where the money came from or why it was deposited. It's been there for about 5 years.
Okay.
Paul and I went back on the notes, we were meeting notes looking for something, we couldn't find anything. So I don't know where the excess funds came to make that CD.
We do have other CDs that are still sitting there, they're
Yes.
still viable, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, and some are earmarked for certain things.
So is a budget amendment out of question, or? The other thought that I had on this was that certificate of obligation that we got back in September. Were we able to use any of that money to pay for any of these unexpected expenses?
Not that I'm aware of, and all those monies are already accounted for. As far as how we anticipate to spend that, the total of 8.5 million.
We've already spent all that?
We haven't spent all of it, but it is all earmarked, and they're about to start bidding projects for us.
Every bit of it's dedicated. So we don't have any excess money to spend. As of right now, we're running about $1 million in the general fund on average. That's where I expected it to be. We do have the money in the general fund, but it would knock me down pretty far on cash. We could go either way with that. I mean, either way, it's cash from the other way.
And this was the one that actually popped up, right?
This is the one, yeah, we could liquidate one CD, and that with a little from our general fund, we can cover the cost of all 3 of these projects.
Which are necessary.
And these are one-time costs.
One-time cost, yes.
Mayor, I want to make a motion authorizing the city administrator to close and liquidate the certificate of deposit at Lido State Bank with funds totaling $250,000 and transfer and deposit such monies into city general fund.
Got a motion on the floor?
I'll second that.
Got a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to B. Consider an act upon authorizing the city administrator to award and enter in contract with number 2302 to Kimberly Horn and Associates in the amount of $127,000 for the stormwater utility fee program.
So I'll briefly touch on this and then let Kimberly Horn take over. This contract has been reviewed by our legal, and what you have in front of you is their final version of it. Total cost of $127,000, and Nick can give you all the specifics on timing and all that.
Okay, Kate, and yeah,
Sure. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me here. So the contract you see in front of you is just a typical contract you would see to set up a stormwater utility program. The tasks are in order of how we would tackle the project itself. You'll see that there's a task for cost of service development and fee sufficiency. We will actually be bringing in New Gen Strategies and Solutions, who are a financial consultant that we often work with for these stormwater utilities that would actually help Matthew and city staff actually come up with a cost of service and kind of work on a budget type schedule for the stormwater utility and how they actually foresee the 5-year plan rolling out. And something else to mention here is Matthew is going to help with the cost service development, and we will be working with the actual engineering and inventory of lots. That is a necessity whenever you set up these stormwater utilities. And let's see, we've got evaluation of billing mechanism, helping out with ordinance preparation, actually preparing the report, and public involvement. And so there's 8 tasks total, as Matthew mentioned, equaling $127,000. And I can go into a background of a stormwater utility if anybody would like a little bit more information on what a stormwater utility is, or if there's any specific questions you have.
Yeah, do you have a short version you can use?
Sure, I have a presentation I've prepared in the past. I don't have it prepared up here, but essentially a lot of the reasons why cities are considering stormwater utilities lately is because, the general fund only gets you so far. And as these cities are dealing with extensive amounts of growth, just like you all are, with that comes drainage needs that also increase, especially with cities that may or may not have put too much emphasis on the drainage infrastructure in the past. So the problem is, okay, we're already having problems with the general fund. How are we supposed to get these funds in order to serve the drainage program, the drainage portion of our needs? And that's what a stormwater utility can do. It's a user fee-based funding program for the city's drainage management activities and also any drainage-specific projects that's authorized by state law, and it also just allows the city to use those general funds on other services. I have a map here that kind of shows the counties that are participating in stormwater utilities in Texas. But Texas itself has over 100 stormwater utilities in place now. So they're really starting to ramp up as a lot of these cities are dealing with these increased population, increased drainage needs. There has been a lot of support and implementation of stormwater utilities. I know surrounding cities that have them in place is San Antonio, Austin. I know San Marcos has one, Live Oak, Leon Valley, Schertz, Fermi. And essentially that's kind of the background, very short background of the stormwater utility. I can go into other state laws, specific type portions of that, but yeah.
Well, I have another question. When the fees come into us, does that go into the general fund?
It's an enterprise fund.
Okay, and it's earmarked only for drainage issues, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
That per
Can't
state
be
law,
tapped.
it can only be for anything drainage related, but I mean, it's anything drainage related, like not just improvement projects, not just maintenance, it's even equipment, it's even,
Sure.
Portions of city staff that are
Couldn't
dedicated
build
to
a new ball
drainage.
field.
What's that?
Couldn't build a new ball field.
No.
Okay, that's
So,
what I was going
You
to.
just have to have the paperwork to back up,
Yeah.
here's the revenue from the stormwater utility and here's what those funds were used
Good,
for.
thank you.
I don't know if you can answer this question, but can you give a ballpark figure on how much money this would bring in?
So I can't give a ballpark figure because a lot of it has to do with what monthly fee that council
Right,
and city staff
so-
elects. And the way that most stormwater utilities are organized is, for simplicity purposes, all the single family homes they get the same bill. And it's for the commercial and non-single family that typically get a little bit higher bill because per state law, the billing basis has to be reasonable, equitable, and non-discriminatory. And so if you kind of try to figure out how am I gonna come up with a billing basis that's related to runoff and drainage, it's really impervious based. So it doesn't really make sense that a single family home gets the same bill as,
So
a
these
commercial.
are directly related to the amount of use as well?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and it has to be per state law.
Right.
So when you say how much revenue will we anticipate, the state average on a per single family home basis is around the $5 mark. Some council and city staff elects to go lesser than that, some elect to go more. A lot of the times when you try to identify what the actual needs are that are just drainage, it's probably gonna be a lot higher than the revenue that you would get if you stuck to that $5 or less. But at least it's some sort of relief.
Thank you.
What's the timeline in the sense of, or the gates that you have from
Sure.
us awarding the contract and the deliverables?
Sure. Timelines for stormwater utilities typically are 9 months, and that's because a lot of it does have to do with the public involvement. We don't really want to go straight to the very last step of the project process where you present the stormwater utility ordinance and fee schedule without some meetings ahead of time kind of saying, here's the fee schedule we're thinking, here's the cost of service development that after meeting with city staff that we've come up with. And so here's the different rates that we could look into. So that generally is why it ends up being 9 months. It's not necessarily we'll take the full 9 months on the work that we're doing. It's that once we get to a point, there is a little bit of a slowdown because of, just preparing presentations and getting feedback from you all, and maybe going back to the drawing board on some different fee scenarios. So, but I would say about average is 9 months.
Perfect.
So I saw in the contract that the data that y'all are going to be analyzing is the utility parcel data rather than what the appraisal districts have on. Is there a particular reason why you are using our data as opposed to the appraisal district?
So we actually, that was the question we had for Matthew ahead of time, is there, since Lidle covers 3 different counties, there's a chance that there's going to be some discrepancies on that line, and there might need to be a manipulation of the data. And so when we've dealt with cities in the past that have this situation where there's multiple counties, we have found that cities have cleaner parcel data, maybe even further parcel data that's already connected to some of the city's utility accounts that are already in place. And that actually was a question we had to Matthew ahead of time. We understood that the city does have their own parcel data.
And then I also saw, I guess, the aerial photographs that you are going to be requiring. Do we have those already, or is that something that we're going to need to
That's
get?
something we're probably gonna have to get. We're looking at cost and move forward with that.
And
Any,
we'll look into that.
recommendations for who to use or how to go about getting that to y'all?
I think we might be using imagery from Tenris, but we'll talk about that.
So there might be some options that
Yeah,
pull that's already there.
we'll help review and try to find.
Yeah, because everything that I've seen and looking into this, going back however long it's been, over a year now, I think that we've been trying to get this going. The surrounding areas, they have, like you spoke about earlier, having like a tiered system for square footage for residents. And it's ranged anywhere from like $5 to $10. And then for like commercial, so I guess like HEB, right? There's 1 million square feet of impermeable area. Like, what are they going to, so if someone's paying $5 for their residence, what is a big commercial lot? What are they going to be looking at paying?
Yeah, it's all going, typically when we set the rate for commercial lots or non-single family, it's essentially, it all boils down to what are we defining as an equivalent residential unit, which is a term used in stormwater utility. And how we come up with that is kind of what the average imperviousness is of a single family home. Say that's 3,500 square feet or 4,000 square feet. So if we set that rate at $3 per single family home, that's representative of that 3,500 square feet. So then HEB, however many square feet that is, that's kind of how you would multiply it that way.
So they would, at 1 million square feet, that they would be what, $3,300? Yeah, 3,000, something like that.
And that's something that we often do. I had mentioned that we're doing some update presentations. Oftentimes what we do is we do take a look at what is the 10 or so largest properties or largest impervious properties in the city, so that we can see what those bills would look like for these different scenarios.
Council?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. I move that we authorize the city administrator to award and enter into contract number 23-02 to Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated in the amount of $127,000 for the stormwater utility fee program.
Got a motion on the floor?
Second?
Second. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to say, Charles, thank you for bringing this to our attention over a year ago. It must have been a while. But you initiated this, and I think it's a good deal. Thanks.
I'm just tired of seeing that water standing across that field from your house, David.
That's what I'm talking about. Good job. Thank you.
Got a few places that our city would definitely, I totally agree with you. Thank you so much for that. Okay, C, consider and act upon authorizing the city administrator to award and enter into a contract number 23-03 to Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated in the amount of $27,900 to update the city's zoning map.
So council, this is one that I brought forward in working with our zoning map. If none of you've seen it, it's a little barbaric, extremely outdated on how we keep track of stuff. There's nothing usable on our website for anyone to use. So they have to call us, we have to go look at it, and from the best of our ability, look at the map, determine it. Working with legal, it was brought to our attention that what we have is not sufficient or legally good. So that's why I asked Kimley Horn to present this. They gave me one a while back. We didn't move quick enough on it, the price did go up, but hey, it is what it is. I'll let them come up and present on that.
Okay. No.
Hello, thanks for having me. So you'll see a similar format of this contract like you just saw with the stormwater utility. If you go to the Exhibit A, our scope of services is where we have our tasks laid out. So the main portion of this project is, updating this map and trying to get it updated with all the improved rezoning cases that the city has had in the past. And so getting that historical documentation together, reviewing that, that'll be our first task. And then after going through that, digitizing it. So in GIS, turning it from that barbaric, is what you called it, PDF, and turning that into a, GIS digital shapefile, and then ultimately creating a PDF for y'all that you can have on your city website that people can go download and use at their own discretion. And then, as well as that PDF, we'll also be doing an interactive format map. So people can go online and zoom and pan and see where their site is and look to see what they're zoning.
Do we get a hard copy as well?
Sure. Oh, yeah, we'll keep that nice and big for y'all. And so then, after that, we have some tasks in here for meetings, just to meet with y'all to tell you what our progress is and how that's going. And then travel, if we need to travel to the city to have our meetings. And in addition to that, the last task is implementation support. So that'll be on an on-need, per need basis if y'all need our help with updating the zoning map, with any rezoning cases that y'all have, and maintenance to the digital map, GIS.
What's your anticipated timeline to completion on this?
I would say 3 to 4 months.
So maintaining and updating the map will be in-house.
We'll be able to have access then?
Mhm.
Okay.
With some string.
Yeah, we can give a little brown bag on GIS. Yeah.
We know someone that knows GIS, or a family member or something.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, this is a huge thing for us to be able to get to. We'll be able to have that capability, not only for decisions that we're making, but also for opportunities for folks that are looking at thinking of doing something inside of Vital that can easily have access to the information.
And that's why I can tell you, we've already started pulling some information on zoning. Our previous city attorney had an excellent folder set up on a lot of zoning throughout the years. He was our city attorney and stuff adopted, so we'll have that's gonna get us way ahead of the game. And then we'll just go from then on where we kind of fell off and started picking up on anything that was changed. So I'm hoping we get a lot of the data that's already there. We'll take
That'd be awesome.
So what role does our comprehensive plan play in updating our zoning map? Because I bring that up, right, because the last time we had a comprehensive plan done was 2015. So of course we're fast approaching that, and looking at that map for future land use, we didn't follow it really, and I think that's probably kind of created some issues, I think, for us to work through in the next couple of years. So I guess my question would be is like, how important is that we get a new comprehensive plan together, and of course with those changes in the comprehensive plan, we're going to need to update our zoning map again in the short term.
it. So Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, cities need to have a comprehensive plan, correct?
They generally
We should every 10 years.
It's recommended, it's not required, the zoning map is required, and it's supposed to be posted and available to the public. The city secretary is tasked with doing that, and the state law to have it available on the website or in paper form available for the public. But the comprehensive plan, many cities do it, and it's kind of, the two do interact with each other, right? So the comprehensive plan is a planning document, and then as you proceed with zoning, it's often considered in your zoning, whatever planning and zoning, considers any zoning action, or the council considers any additional zoning action. So, but I think the comprehensive plan is due for updating in the next year or two.
Yeah, it's 2025, and I can tell you, I sat through all those meetings when we did that years ago, and Chief answered, you were there. It didn't, I don't think we got what we were expecting at the time. We got what we paid for it.
We got railroaded.
But it was not really, we didn't have enough, yeah.
Skip's back there nodding like,
We didn't have
yeah.
enough people come in and say.
Skip could
When
have
we
been a
had
better
that, what
job.
Matt's talking about is, they had a big deal at the city, it's a big deal at the community center. And they said, okay, well, there's like 15, 20, 30 people show up. They had big maps out, and you just sit over there and say, I think this ought to be apartments, this ought to be, and then they just, basically whoever happened to sit there, I sat with a bunch of real estate guys, so they were more aggressive, you know? And then that was it. That was our plan.
That's what was chose. It's just by, if Jesse showed up and thought where he said should be this, and that's kind of what that plan got.
It was
It
weird.
wasn't the greatest plan. That's why having this updated, us having what we currently have, what we've currently done, will help us moving forward, and then we can.
So getting this created, right, updated, like it should have probably done years ago. We'll be able to easily update it again once we get our new comprehensive plan implemented.
Especially, yeah,
Yeah.
especially with it being digital, and it'll be much more streamlined to get that done.
And what, I don't know, I mean, you may or may not know this, what's the timeline we're looking at to like get a new comprehensive plan? If we start 2024, we have to have it by whatever, January or, 2025. I don't know, something to put in the back of your head, Matt.
Yes, sir.
The ones I've sat through, I can tell you it's a minimum of 6 months if you do it right. Jesse?
It takes a while.
Yeah.
At least 6.
Yeah.
I've seen longer.
So, it just depends on the size of the community and what you have. But yeah, it's nothing that happens overnight. So,
This would be a great tool for us to use when we do that moving forward.
definitely.
Yeah, I move that we approve the agenda item as presented.
Okay,
Second.
second. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. Well, it sounds like we got them some homework to do. Yeah, some big homework to do, so we appreciate it. Thanks for being here tonight,
Thank you.
and thank you. Look forward, please work closely with Matt, let us know. It'll be good. We'll try to take care of that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to D, discuss and consider and adopt resolution number R2302 designating Mayor Ruben Gonzalez and City Administrator Matthew Deere as the city's authorized signatures for the Texas Community Development Block Grant Program.
So, Council, I'm going to let Jessica from Grant Works come up. She's going to present the next 3 or 4 items that relate to CDBG.
Taking a lot
Awesome.
of your attention. Good evening, Council. This is nice. Thank you for having me. All right, so there are a couple resolutions that we have on the agenda. This first one is a signatory resolution, basically authorizing people in positions to sign the contractual paperwork and the submission of the application. So you'll notice that we have the mayor, we have the city administrator, and then under that bullet, we have the city secretary, and they're basically backups in the case that the mayor is out on April 3rd, which is when we're hoping to submit this application. We have Matthew, and if Matthew's also out, then we have the city secretary, so basically covering our bases.
Council?
I move that we approve this agenda item.
Got a motion on the floor? Second? Okay. Any further discussion?
So what does this actually mean? Is this just simply signatures, or are the two of you making decisions beyond the council? Signature on. Okay, I agree then. Thank you.
It's just to submit the application for the grant.
Yeah, you look at the wording and it's
Yeah.
all B and,
Signing away your house, Michael.
I know,
That's
I was like,
moving in.
wait a minute, I didn't say that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
A good question. Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, E, discuss, consider, and adopt resolution number R23-03 authorizing the submission of the city's application to the Texas Community Development Block Grant, CDBG program, and adopting CDBG civil rights policy.
Jessica, can I,
Yes,
real quick,
yeah.
and correct me if I'm wrong, the next agenda item is covered off of the same resolution.
Yes,
Right.
I mean, this is a.
Jesse, can we do, because the resolution, actually, I saw that encompasses F as well.
You can,
You want me to put both of them together?
Discuss
And
both,
then,
and
and then vote for both.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Do you want me to go ahead and list F since we're going to discuss them both at the same time?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
That way it works.
So F, we're going to include council on this one is discussion, consider, and adopt the city's CDBG Citizen Participation Plan. And then we'll come back to each one individually for legal advice, and we'll go ahead and do the vote.
All right, so this next one has several policies in it. In short, and again, I won't keep it short because again, I know I'm taking a lot of your agenda. I will start with the excessive force policy that we have on there. This basically just prohibits excessive force in nonviolent demonstrations or protests. It's just something that the TVA added into the resolutions. And again, it's just their parameters pretty much. Another section is the fair housing, and this one states it requires those that are applying for a grant to establish some kind of fair housing activity. And what is normally done is April is designated fair housing month, and this does not come until later. Once, it's funded, we'll have project managers come out and you all can work on that together. Section 504, this one is prohibits discrimination against those that are handicapped. We also have a code of conduct, which is just for conflicts of interest. And then the following item, which is also in the same resolution, is saying that you all will enact a citizen participation plan that we've already started. If you remember, I was here in December for a public hearing where citizens had the opportunity to voice their opinions if funded, how they want, how they would like that money spent pretty much. And then also we will be having an application availability. So once we are near 95% completed with this application, which should be in about 2 weeks, we will send over a copy to Matthew. That way it's available at City Hall for a minimum of 5 days, and that allows any citizen to come up here and say, hey, I would like to see this application, and that copy will be ready for them with engineer statements, everything that's going to go into the application, project maps, budgets, all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Okay, so that actually included also a little bit of G, to discuss and consider and take possible action on community-wide housing analysis, a report prepared by Grant Works regarding the implementation of fair housing. But we're going to take each one individually. So let's go ahead and go back to the E, the one where we discuss and consider the adopt the resolution authorizing the submission of the city's application on there and adopting the civil rights policy that goes along with that. So, council?
I move that we approve resolution 2303.
Okay, got a motion on the floor for us to go ahead and approve the submission and the adopting of the civil rights policy.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a second? Any further discussion?
I had a quick question. We probably talked about this in December. How much CDBG money is available to be awarded?
So the full grant is $500,000.
That's maximum for us. I'm in total, I guess, program like statewide. What's that pool of money that we're looking at?
I don't have the exact amount. I can probably get that to Matthew, but I'm not sure the exact.
Well, I mean, it's not just about satisfying my own curiosities, like considering what our chances are. How many municipalities? Because this is a rural, right? I mean, there's a difference in what we're applying for compared to like a metro area.
Yes, so actually, we don't take on any metro areas. It's mostly just rural. And it really depends on the COGS, because every COG has a certain allocation, and then the COGS priorities. And so they work off of a point system, and the higher you score, the higher your chances are receiving funding. And so if you, again, a little bit of item G, that's for an additional 2 points when you coming up here and actually getting the fair housing process. And so, again, I'm not too sure about the whole number, because I'm not certain that TA releases that, but if I do find it, I can send it over to that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything online. That's why I figured I'd ask. If anybody's going to know, it's you. So yeah, so is it up to 500,000, or is it like they based off our score? They're saying, well, you only qualify for 50,000, or
No, so if you do get funded, it is 500,000.
okay.
Now that would be less the admin fee and less the engineering fee, which I believe was 400 and
Yeah, unless it's
400 and something.
460-ish thousand somewhere. I have to look at the exact number again.
And we can only use that for improvements to our water system.
Yeah, it would be all for that water line.
That is, yeah. If we don't apply for water, we don't get as many points. We wait for us. Anyway.
We did look into drainage, but drainage was a second priority for the COG, and that would make, we would lose 10 points, so we decided to just make.
We have
water
a better
priority.
chance with the water.
Absolutely, yes, every point matters.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and finish the last two, and this one for voting is discuss and consider adopting the city's CDBG Citizens Participation Plan.
Mayor, I move that we adopt the city's CDBG Citizen Participation Fund.
Okay, got a motion on the floor? Thank you. Got a second? Any further discussion on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And the last one, discuss and consider to take possible action on community-wide housing analysis, a report prepared by GrandWorks regarding impediments to the fair housing for City of Lyon.
And I do have a little blurb that I can show you for this section if you don't mind reading it to you guys.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So in the back of attached, you will see an analysis of your community's fair housing and data on factors that impact fair housing in a community such as disability, race, and ethnicity. So this analysis that you see is done in support of your upcoming 23-24 CDBG grant with TDA. Now, as I'm sure you know, TDA supports affirmatively furthering fair housing and has opted to have a scoring element that requires conducting an activity in support of this FFH. Now, where this data comes from, the first one, housing, race, ethnicity, and disability data comes from the U.S. Census, more specifically the 1721 American Community Survey data. The second one, low income housing analysis comes from the Public Housing Authority. And then the last section briefly discusses possible impediments to fair housing in the community. So with all this being said, this analysis is complete and should satisfy TDA requirements. We ask that you accept this analysis in support of the upcoming TDA grant.
We had something.
So this was the 2010?
2017 to 2021. So basically the most recent data that we have on the census website.
And that was what was proposed here? Because it says 2010 on it.
On the second page, it has the total population at 2192, and I want to say the 2020 census has us at like 2914.
Okay, so then it is my blur, I'm sorry, it should say 2020 census.
Okay,
This is
but it's
from our fund departments.
2020,
Yes.
okay.
My apologies.
Wait, so does that need to be corrected for when we submit this application?
No, it was just a source pretty much because this analysis is sent to you and the analysis is actually correct. This is fine.
Do we, Jesse, can we just say so they can correct it as amended?
Yes, you just have to correct it.
Okay.
Correct that typo.
That'll be easy. That way we can give you the flexibility. Okay, council?
I move that we approve this with the amended correction that was mentioned.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and make a motion for us to go ahead and approve the community-wide housing analysis report regarding the fair housing for our city as amended. Okay, I have a motion on the floor. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate it being here. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to H, discuss and consider and take possible action on staff presentation of the 2022 racial profiling report. Richie, welcome back. Welcome back. Thanks, Jessica. We'll see you later.
So do we have that on the,
So I don't know if you're bringing a copy.
well, I didn't bring copies. Did you provide them with copies in their packets or not?
Oh, yes, they had copies of copies.
Okay, so, I got my two. So y'all have those packets in front of you. It's a lot of numbers. It's not, there's no way I could possibly ever go through.
Now, Richie, that's usually like a consolidation of the stuff that you show in every month, right?
Yes, all it is actually what you get every month added together, and that gives us this report. So I'll touch on a little bit of last year's report. This really has nothing to do with racial profiling, but it gives you an idea of how it's kind of more interesting. The 2022, I'll just hit on some big topics and we'll go from there. This is on our website. It has been submitted to the state, which is required to. We upload it to the Law Enforcement Association, the Law Enforcement Commission's website. I'll give you some interesting facts. The one I reported last year, we had 1,647 traffic stops for 2021. okay? I'll go over here. That's what COVID had us shut down a lot or doing less. This year we had 3519, so double the amount of traffic stops. You know, not that that has anything to do with racial profiling, but that's one of the nice bit of data we do get from this. The racial profiling, it goes into detail on stops. It goes into detail on people being searched based on, it breaks it down by race. It breaks it down by male or female, you know, and again, like I say, there's a lot of numbers I could go through. I sometimes hit on the big numbers, which is the percentages, which is actually on what is now it changes through the years. It's called the analysis. And used to it, this kind of tells us the percentages of the stops on based on just in general. I'll give you that to kind of get going there. On the kind of let's just look at something. Location of the stop. It gives you the option of a city street, a U.S. highway, a county road, a state highway, or private property. We had out of 3,519 stops, 1,674 of them, so it's about half were on city streets, and that's going to be actually your Prairie, your Benton, your Railroad Street. U.S. Highway was 5. That's actually U.S. Highway was 5. That's actually the interstate. Now we actually used to make a lot of stops on the interstate. Back years ago, you could actually get up there and stop vehicles, and now they put a cable in and they raise the speed limit. It's almost impossible to do much on the interstate anymore because one, you just about get run over. So that number, years ago, it would have been much higher. County Road 12, that's going to be probably 6710 and maybe a little bit out in coal mine, so nothing. State Highway 1818, 51% of our stops were on State Highway. Okay, that's going to be Main Street's a State Highway, 2790 North, Benton City Road. Once you get to the state part, McDonald Street over here is a State Highway, 463. So anyway, that's some interesting numbers there. Race or ethnicity. So of those 3,519 stops, 5 were, and these are something we have to categorize. Alaska, Native American or Indian is just 5 stops. Asian Pacific Islander was 9. Black was 70. White was 718. Hispanic or Latino, 2717. So if you look at those percentages, you can pretty much throw out the first 3 amounts for less than 2.5%. You've got 20.4% white, 77.21% Hispanic Latino. And if you look at last year, for example, numbers fairly close. You had 21.98% white, 75.71% Hispanic. And since we've been doing these for over 10 years, these numbers are traditionally the same within a percentage point or so. I will tell you when we had a change during the Eagle Ford, when you had a whole lot of people from Louisiana and Oklahoma and East Texas working in the oil field, you had a spike in the Anglos went up, or what they call white, and then in black also. Because we had a lot more people that were working. So it's kind of odd that you can see that spike for a year or two. But other than that, it pretty much settles into real close to the same. This year, males were 63.74%. Sorry, males 63.74, with females being 36.26. The state has not yet given us any ability to fit anything else other than male or female. So I'm sure at some point in time they'll change that around and doesn't want to tell you or has a whatever the options are. But that's what we go by now. We go by what's on the driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just to kind of reason for stop. Oh, let me see. What else would be interesting? 74% of our stops were for moving traffic violations. A moving traffic violation is speeding, stop sign, that kind of stuff. 25%, 0.09 were for vehicle traffic violations, which that's your headlights, your inspection stickers, your brakes, might be, that type of stuff, which is outstanding. Where this law came from, and again, I'm not a scholar of this, but you had all over the country, you had agencies profiling certain races, whatever it may be, depending on where you were, and targeting those disproportionately searches. This predominantly came from drug interdiction stuff. This was not your what they call your plain, your plain small town traffic enforcement. This was from your drug units, your people that were out there working highways. So to give you so a big issue in a lot of this, which we could go on forever, deals with searches. So to give you an idea, 97.76% of our stops, there were no searches. I mean, we're not working, we're not, randomly just searching people for, because it's something good to take up the time. That's where you have places where you're looking for narcotics, you're doing a lot, and your search numbers are gonna be a whole lot more, than 97, than actually the number that was searched was actually 2.24%. So that's fairly insignificant. And again, the numbers, it's all right there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I could really tell you. I don't really, a lot of this data, I've been looking at this for years. There's not any way, it's not something where you say, well, that looks good or this looks okay. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I'm prohibited from breaking it down by officers, the way the law is written. I'm prohibited from, I can't tell you, it's not like I can't say, well, hey, we need to stop a few more blacks or we need to stop less of this. I mean, this is just the numbers and it's what they are. And beyond that, I'll entertain any questions. All these, there's about 4 or 5 of these that are posted on our website. You can go through and look at it at your own convenience if you have any questions. But again, we do report this monthly because one, it makes it easier to keep up with, and that's about where we are.
Chief, let me ask you a question.
Yes,
Have you ever had an opportunity or taken a chance to compare our numbers with a city of similar size and just see how we track?
No, I mean, when it first started, we did. But I really haven't. The first year they did this, everybody wanted a copy of it, in the media, and then it's really become now, been tricky, not really kind of instant. Matt was for years, has anybody ever requested? I mean, another thing they ask us, they keep adding stuff to it. Because like I said, it really doesn't matter because there's no way I can change it anyway. That's kind of the problem. I mean, there's nothing I can do. I certainly can't put out a memo telling officers what race to stop or what to do. But so a couple things they added here was, did you have any complaints about racial profiling? And see, people can do that. They can file a complaint. We had one from that Bishop guy, right? 1 in 10 years or something. And then the other one is they wanted data on was physical force resulting in bodily injury used during the stop. And we didn't have any where physical force resulting in bodily injury were used during the stop. So that's some stuff that kind of added. And again, it's really just kind of what it is. And we're good to collect the data. There's a lot of stuff here. I mean, you could be off 1 or 2 here and there. I mean, there's no way. A lot of it is, you got an officer has to keep the data. It might be 3 in the morning. It's easy to, maybe skip 1 or something. But in general, this is a good report of what the state requires and what I'm presenting to.
Mayor, I move that we accept the 2022 racial profiling report as presented.
Got a motion on the floor? Got a second? Discussion? All those in favor?
If anyone want a hard copy of this, I'll get it to them. I just didn't print a bunch off.
I want to know how many phone cases you did.
I didn't need any. I got there at midnight. Everybody was shut down. I had to pack in my own food.
Get it back.
Okay, I'll tell you, I'll leave, but hold on, let me say one thing. I was at the rodeo when I was working, so one night there wasn't nobody at the carnival, officer didn't show up, and Bob was in the carnival. And I was walking around, and had all his signs up for the food and pictures of him, and it was terrible.
And only one funnel cake got stolen.
The only thing they left out was ketchup.
You know?
Ketchup, by itself.
And how
Yeah,
was it?
enough
Did
of
you-
those.
It was average.
Wait till you got a network. Have somebody get it for you so when you show
I
up,
should have done that, but I didn't think about it.
be able to do that. That's good. Good question. Okay, consider and act upon the ordinance number 23-01, amending section 46 of the city code of ordinances regulating the parking and locating of recreational vehicles in residential, commercial, and industrial zoning districts.
So council, what you have before you is the direction you gave legal, myself, at the last meeting. That is the ordinance now that is before you. Again, it does not, it allows for the parking of a RV in a residential area. You cannot have it hooked up to water and sewer. It's one or the other kind of thing. You cannot use it without a permit. You can store them, park them in a business district unless it is designed for sale of RVs, stuff like that. And if you want to use the RV temporarily, you have to come to City Hall and apply for a permit that spells out how that works and the cost. And so it costs us $25. I don't know if that was on yours. That's what we're gonna go with. Simple. They can get a 30-day permit to use it. And then after that 30 days, there's 2 renewals that can happen for a total of 90 days in a 12 one-year period. And anything beyond that, they have to come before council and get a variance.
When they have the permit, they can hook up water and sewage at that time.
When they have what, I'm sorry?
When they have the permit,
Yes, then you
use
can,
it,
then
then
you
they
can
can
use
hook
it to
up.
reside in, yes.
Okay.
Outside of that, you can
Then-
only have it there for storage
permit
or,
runs out, they disconnect and
Yeah.
it can still sit there as long as it's in an area that's allowed to sit.
yes, as long as it meets the code on where you can park it, stuff like that.
Good, good, good.
You have to keep the wheels on, you can't take the wheels off, I mean,
Pretty weird thought it becomes an ancillary structure, right? It becomes like a shed.
Right.
And then you run into other issues. There are regulations where you can park it in parking places, you can park it in the setback. You can't park it in the right of way, in the
Right.
street.
Sure.
So,
Who's going to be enforcing this?
code compliance. And then if there's any issues after hours, if he's not here, then we'll use our police.
I noticed in there that the penalty range was between $10 and $500. Can we set that tonight, Jesse, to,
The 10 and 500 is standard for most of our ordinances, but you can certainly specify specific.
and I asked that because honestly, I don't see, I know of one person who might be getting dinged for this. I'm going to let Skip find him. It's gonna be a little scavenger hunt, Skip. But I mean, I don't want, if people are using it, I want to give them, the opportunity, because this is going to affect tonight. Like when can we start penalizing people, and can we give people time to cure what they're doing, and that way they're not hit with these penalties.
Typically since there's a penalty involved, usually we go ahead and issue a notice in the paper about it. And then afterwards, then that gives kind of the public an opportunity to be aware of it. So we can certainly do that. And of course, if council wanted to postpone it, say, if you wanted to wait till summertime or, whatever, it's up, you have some discretion in that, but it certainly couldn't be any sooner than after it's been noticed, since there's a penalty.
I mean, looking this thing over, the only real addition that I've seen other cities do when dealing with RVs is they require them to be parked on either an asphalt pad or concrete. And I don't think, I saw where it can't be in the side setback, can't be in the front setback, can't be parked on the curb sort of deal. I mean, is that something that,
In the council discussion, when we had about it, I think there was, I just floated the idea whether the council wanted to put that requirement. Some cities do require if you park an RV on residential property, it has to be on a paved surface, basically gravel, paver, or concrete, but the council didn't. So that's okay. But you just can't put it in the setbacks. So it can't be in the side yard or the front yard setback. And then sometimes there's just space between the actual right of way and where the street begins, right? So they can't park it there either. Sometimes they'll kind of like put it in between And so that's also not.
Just because of the lots and the way they're designed.
So the way, like, say, a residential unit that has a driveway in the front, as long as it's on the driveway, they're okay. As opposed to, if it was parked in the grass, they're gonna be, that's it in the front setback.
Correct, you can't put it in the front setback.
Yeah, can't put it-
Theoretically, if you had like a horseshoe drive or something, you could be in the front of the house, it'd be paved surface, or if you look at the day, there's an area in the front of the property that's not in the front setback, but between the house and that, they could put it there.
Yeah, because I guess the definition of the front setback would be from the right of way to the actual residence itself. So, I mean, your driveway could be in the front setback, right? I guess that's my big concern, because I know I've seen some people that they have them parked in, I guess, what is actually the front setback. So what's the workaround for them? They don't have room to store them. They got to they got to wait for the RV storage place to open up.
Something like that. You know, that, or they could try to find another place to park it where they could get a permit for it to occupy that. The ordinance prohibits parking in the street because the city streets are generally not wide enough to accommodate an RV and any traffic around it. So unless there's a specific designated oversized vehicle parking spots, which the city doesn't necessarily have right now, but it could have them in the future. So those are possible. It could be the backyard, make it behind the house, park it in the back.
But again, not to be parked on the grass at all.
You can park
No,
in the grass.
it can be in the grass.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, most
Yeah,
definitely.
because I don't have a big enough,
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's my, and that usually, I think that's what most people end up doing, because they would probably pull it up and put it behind the house or along the side, or in the driveway or some way.
I mean, ideally the driveway or something concrete, but I don't think it would be
just referring
being able to make it, everybody have the concrete. So that's why we left it at, could be in the grass.
I was referring to, maybe they have a driveway concrete, but they park their cars there, so where they gotta park the
No, it can be in the grass.
Yeah, they can park it to the side. Typically, you'll see a lot of times they'll park on the side of the house. They pull up, they back it in beside their house. They have it approved. It's not the setback, it's set in the grass. When it's just storage, you can park them in the grass. It's not bad.
So when it's not permitted, you are or are not allowed to park it in the driveway?
No, you can park it all the time. The permit only comes into play if you want to use it and connect it to water and sewer, and somebody can occupy it and stay in it. So if you're pulling it up to your house, I'm gonna go traveling next weekend. If I pulled it up to my house and I needed to plug in the water to fill the fresh water tank, I could do that and load it. But I couldn't park it that night, run water, connect it to my sewer, and sleep in it that night without a permit. That's where the
However,
permit
you can
comes.
store it in your driveway.
It's when it's being used as a temporary dwelling.
Yeah.
Basically, that's when the
Right.
permit is
Okay.
required. So, and that's the idea, if the RV is not becoming sort of a shortcut for dwellings, you can't roll RV onto a vacant lot, residential lot, declare that as your residence.
You usually see folks hooking up around here when they get visitors.
So Charles, what was your concern about, I thought I was dealing with parking of the RV.
I just think it looked nicer if they had parking on concrete or asphalt. But then again, someone's got or a, whatever, 500 square foot slab, you're looking at spending $3,500 for that. So,
And I've seen some residents where they have a nice carport over.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that's not in this language.
Well, I guess my concern, Michael was talking about the driveways in the front, that's technically in the front setback. But if it's on the driveway, as long as no one's living in there, Skip's not gonna hold on to Jim.
Yeah, I don't think Steve's ever hauled anyone off the gym.
No,
He
looks big,
Yeah,
but
he
he
looks like a kid.
kind of a steady bear. Yeah, we'll work with Skip. I mean, in the beginning, we're looking for compliance, right? So, hey, sir, just FYI, we got a new ordinance. You can't park that here. Please move, And then if we have to enforce stuff.
I think in the past, we did put in the paper, and we did 30 days. That sound about right, Jesse?
Usually it's something like that, it's usually 30 days after the notice, and that gives people time to make adjustments. And sometimes even then, the council can ask PD to maybe give warnings. Some cities will do that even after the notice, they'll just direct staff to maybe give them 30 or 60 days, just to give people an opportunity. That often happens whenever you adjust speed limits, especially around school zones, or people that do that as well. Discretion.
So like for construction RVs, for that, there's a way they can get a permit?
Yes.
That's
That's what this
what
is,
I'm trying to- You know, that's what we've seen a lot more of that.
Yeah, we
Bigger
included
projects.
that in there.
Yeah, and you'll see it with big projects, even having on-site people there for security purposes. Okay.
So who makes the determination on the penalty? Is that going to be the municipal judge?
Yes, the judge will set the penalty. And it's per day.
Per day. That's what I'm saying. It goes up to 500, you know. If Judge Elias has an axe to grind, you know, someone's going to be in trouble there if they don't move it.
It better be nice to Skip when he shows up. We good. Okay, council?
Mayor, I'll move that we adopt ordinance number 23-01, amending section 46 of the City Code of Ordinances regulating the parking and locating of recreational vehicles in residential, commercial, and industrial zoning districts.
Thank you. Have a motion on the floor?
Second.
Got a second? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Opposed. Okay. Okay. All right. Resolution carries forward. Appreciate the inputs. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to J. Consider and act upon ordinance number 23-02, declaring the unopposed candidates for the offices City Councilman Place Number 1, City Council Member Place Number 2, and City Council Member Place Number 3 to be elected, incorporating residuals, canceling the election scheduled for May the 6th, 2023, and providing for the necessary postings of this ordinance.
So it's just that, we didn't have anybody, no contested election or races this year, so therefore we don't have to hold an election.
Okay. We're fortunate to have Mr. Miguel Aguirre.
Yes, we had one for each position, we'll have two new councilmen.
So it should work out good. So is it a formality for us to do it officially? We need to take care of that portion of it. So council? Make a motion. Richie, what are you doing over
He's
there?
already sucked up to the
I told him I was sorry.
I didn't say discussion. You're taking
I was checking to
votes.
see if I could see where he was at.
You're gonna have to watch this. You got a motion? Okay. Sam's got a motion for us to go ahead and declaring the unopposed candidates for the office of the 1, 2, and 3 to be elected and canceling the election schedule for the 6th of May of 2023.
I'll second that.
Go ahead.
I'll second, Mayor.
Got a second? Okay. Any discussion?
So they're serving, Sam's still serving out his term until
Until May the
Till
6th.
May.
And Joseph too.
And this year is a little bit different. The write-in, usually this type of an ordinance would happen later, but the write-in deadline is not the same day as the regular filing, written filing deadline. So that means that as soon as the deadline is passed, then you immediately determine whether there's any contested elections. So the council. This is a few of our cities are have this exact same thing happening.
Paul will still be here on election day because Southwest IC will still hold it this year.
And so the ordinance will be posted at the polling place, both during the early voting as well as the actual voting, the election day. And then after the basic election is completed, then we'll do the swearing in as if it was a regular contested election. And that just happens at the next council meeting. Just go ahead and swear in.
And if I remember correctly, Atascosa's not doing anything and Medina's not doing anything. Is that correct?
Yes, I don't think they're getting it.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they're running elections.
Yeah.
Asco's not running any, Medina running elections for other people.
yeah, but in the sense of anything, yeah. So I don't think we have anything where other folks might be showing up except maybe school board.
School board.
So,
Do they have any contested races at the school board? So theirs will be here as well.
Yeah, which I think they've had one person use it all the year after.
so, okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Go ahead and take care of that paperwork. Okay, we're doing good, doing good. Here we go. Okay, discuss and consider whether to proceed with revisions to city street light maintenance policies. This is an item that was tabled.
Yeah, we took a vote of no action last month, and it was asked that we have more discussion. So this is how do we want to proceed forward when people request streetlights? How do we want to just, if they request them, we're gonna pay for them, is there a process? And then if there is a process, do we want to have a standard for a streetlight? What kind of streetlight it has to be, size of pole, locations? The sky's the limit. Now's the chance for us to start working on it. How do y'all want to proceed? Before, it's just been, you request a streetlight and we call them to have a streetlight put in and we just start paying for it.
Keep in mind that those are not cheap.
Well, the item 2 weeks ago, this is not the same agenda item because 2 weeks ago, was the developer of Vital Farms was asking us to take on the financial cost for the operation and maintenance of the street lights. This isn't, do we even have a maintenance policy?
We don't
Because
have anything. That's what this would allow us, if y'all want, we can create something on how to move forward.
I mean, who handles the maintenance right now? CPS?
CPS, and if there's anything, they bill it back to the city.
AAP, right?
Well, AEP in certain areas too, yeah. So if, for example, if we said we want to move forward and then we say what kind of street light, we'd have to work with CPS and AEP to get, you know, in their search of what's their standard, what, you know, how many, I don't know. It's a bigger thing. It's really comes down to, at some point, if we don't determine how we want to move forward and when we're going to pay for streetlights and how, we could have a street light every 2 feet, every house, if that's what, because that's what we've done. Or we can set a policy and say, hey, we're allowed streetlights, and if you get them, they have to be this type, and we're only going to allow them at this type of intersection, and they can't be more than 500 feet apart, or, you know, however we want to move forward. Because if we're not careful, if we, in my opinion, like Charlie, if we say yes to one subdivision, I guarantee you what the next two are going to do right after that. Come in and say, oh, well, now you're going to pay for streetlights, pay for ours, so then the HOA fee or whatever can just be used. for
So
something
inside
else.
this maintenance, you would also include where there would be.
Is that,
In this policy, yes. If they want us to pay for it.
is that different from subdivision and about a city street, and they want a light on that street? What are we gonna?
Yeah, so if we have a master plan committee that has a, master plan committee has an HOA where they're paying dues, we could say in our policy if we wanted to, if you're in an HOA and you collect dues, the city will not cover the cost of streetlights. You know, or we could, however y'all want to move forward. But if we're
Yeah,
not careful,
maintenance needs to include whether we charge or we pay for the electricity on subdivisions.
exactly, however we want to move forward, when we're gonna pay for them, if we're gonna pay for them.
Like, for example, right now, we're about 18,000, that's on streetlight costs. So,
from the year? We're 18,000 2 months into the year?
our fiscal is.
Okay, so was that 4 months?
We're 18,000, so, and I'm still trying to figure out where all the streetlights are. Matt and I said the other day, and we're trying to.
I work with CPS Energy on their end. We just get bills, and they don't make any sense on, it's just a bill that says street light, whatever. So now we're trying to find out where that street light is,
For these streetlights. I
Is
just
that
haven't
for neighbors or for users?
for the electricity.
It seems to me, sort of side here, we need to have a workshop to talk about this. We're not
However y'all want,
deciding.
yeah. No, this is just, if that's what y'all want to do, how do we want to move forward on this in streetlights? Right now, it is just Charles says he wants a street light, I live next to Charles, I say, I want a street light, the next guy, and then all of Bloom Drive has got 50 street lights.
Well, we've got 5 on Blue Drive, but let me tell you what I'd like to see, and I've watched this be where the squeaky wheel gets a street light. I would like to see that we look at it from different aspects, is you have police input, you know, if it's near an intersection, are we having a lot of accidents at that intersection? We have a lot of pedestrians at night. I mean, so we do need a really full approach, before we just randomly start putting stuff
We need
everywhere.
to identify we're gonna pay for a street light, not a security light. We got an example where somebody wanted one, we asked, CPS, when they did their survey, said this would be considered a security light because it will not reach and light up the street. So then, if that would have gone through, we would have been paying for somebody's security light, not a street light, using government money to pay for a street light of the house.
I mean, do we need like a lighting ordinance established? Because I mean, what I've seen in the past, and I know the mayor kind of talked about it at the end of last meeting, with the eclipse coming up, right? And this is always something that's been low on my priority of things, but to limit the amount of light pollution that is in the city, right? Because I think a lot of folks, they move out here because they like being able to see the stars at night. So, you know, being able to have some design input into how that light is thrown, not up in the air, but of course, illuminating the streets, sidewalks, everything, keeping people safe in intersections. But again, kind of adhering to what kind of makes the city a nice place to live would be to I know San Antonio, they have a light pollution ordinance. I'm sure that there's a lot cities all over the country that have them.
You may be the neighbor who has the light shining in their bedroom window because the neighbor wanted one all night long, you know? So I think there's a lot of things to look at.
I mean, there are, because you look, some of the new ones, they're LEDs. Some of the older, I mean, there's lights that are loud, you know, it's almost like a noise complaint. I know that there's one down the street from Richie's house that sounds like a helicopter's taking off.
I can tell you that I could walk outside and walk down to your dad's house, Tom's house, and I mean, I could pick up a quarter on a quarter in the street
Well,
in the middle of the night.
Well, I mean,
So yes, it can be overbearing.
but see, that light is out, so maybe we implement something too where citizens can report that, you know, like you said, we don't know what lights that we even have. I know, like, what a citizen wants to get a light not installed. Hey, the light's out. Like, how do we go about addressing that without?
Currently, they call City Hall, and we call CPS, or AEP, whoever.
Now, keep in mind also is when you look at all these new sidewalks we're putting in, you know, if we're gonna have a lot of people with sidewalks, that's gonna change, you know, that may change our lighting needs too. So there's a whole lot of factors that I've seen for years that we do need some sort of a plan.
Jesse, other cities, do they have a lighting ordinance? Is there something?
They usually have it, some do not. Many in the cities.
So there is
do
such a
not.
thing as a.
Oh, yes.
a light
For
ordinance.
example, Castroville will have a standard kind of foot candle standard light, right? So that the amount of light that a street light would then have.
Mhm.
The law of the city code right now designates the city engineer to establish lighting standards like that. Now, what, you know, the actual fixture and the amount of light that it emits in light. And probably recommend some policies to you, but that's where I asked Matt, we were starting to work on this. I'm like, was there an old ordinance already in the books that maybe just wasn't online yet?
We pretty much relied on CPS, honestly. I mean, just like Matt said, somebody comes over and asks, and then we would ask CPS. Now, some of us would actually drive out there and take a look and see, okay, is it that dark, or where's the next one close by? So we would do it internally.
They would always, like when they asked me for a light, city would ask me, well, what's the pole number? So I had to go and get the pole number. But over there in Comine, they just put a LED light that's pretty bright. The other ones are all.
Careful on them. I don't know what they're, like this, the Saddle Ridge had 250 watt, and I think the other one 750 watt, after what they were.
Yeah, it's
But in just that small phase one, it was like 14 street lights there. Now, if those are overbearing lights, that could be pretty bright at night, you know?
Yeah, the angle like Charles talked about, the looms, you know, it's basically the looms what it boils down to, what are you gonna ask for? But I know we relied on CPS or AEP, the ones that they pretty much just put the standard what they would include in San Antonio.
Right, and so electric street lights and electric utilities are a little bit different than like water and sewer, right? Because with water and sewer, the city, or if it's a subdivision, the developer will construct those and then dedicate them, and the city will then maintain and operate those. But electric's a little different. The utility usually develops all of those improvements, including the street lights. So they'll often install those, so it's not unusual for that. And they'll also replace the ballast, all the lights, the lamps and everything as well. So they'll do all of that stuff. boards, that's typical, but again, it's a question of what is the policy that the city want? Do they want to establish just a general lighting plan, if you will, for the entire city? And that may be, you know, if that's the direction you want to go, we explore how you want to do that.
So one of the recommendations made by council is for us to have a workshop. Is that what you guys want to
I
do?
think there's two options, either or, Mr. Deere reaches out to other cities and see what they have in their plans, or we do the workshop. I think we have to probably do both.
We can do the workshop and then I can go out and get plans together for us to review. I can send them out ahead of time and have something.
Jesse, if you can get it to them.
Sure, and I suspect AEP and CPS will also have information that would be useful for the city.
We can invite.
CPS already, when they read our agenda without me reaching out to them, they already reached out to me today and asked if they needed to be here. It's too early to reach out, but they're ready to work with us already on this project.
Well, we can invite them. They work.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I think that a workshop's a great idea, and get some community feedback like what people want, because I don't think that they want Vegas out there. They want, of course, they want light. They don't want the super bright lights, but I know that there's national standards for dark skies. I don't even know if we qualify for that simply because of our proximity to San Antonio. But I think people still are trying to limit the amount of light pollution because it can be a nuisance, right? If we're trying to look out for people's safety and improve their quality of life, you know, that's probably something that a minor thing that people don't even notice, right? It's like, hey, this light is irritating. I haven't known it for, you know, it's been 25 years like this, but hey, it's nice to have kind of serene setting.
However, there are citizens that do like the security of the lights being out there on the street. And they can,
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue that I think that, of course, I'm not arguing that there shouldn't be light, but there's a method to do it where you're not. It's basically throwing that light up in the air. It's wasted rather than directed, like it's kind of like a shielding on top of the light, so the light is going down. Yeah, focused downwards where you need it, not into the sky. So
Mayor, it looks like we need to table this.
Well, we can actually put an action for us to go ahead and go into a workshop.
We need to set a date for that, right?
We would have to set it if we made a motion for a workshop, but it needs to be done
If
very
you
quick.
table it, we can bring it to the next month's meeting or the next council.
We really need to take care of this because of the subdivisions.
For the action committee to direct the city administrator to, on a date, and set up a workshop.
There you go.
Mayor, I make a motion that we task our city administrator with putting together some information, maybe from other sources, and setting the date with the council to have a workshop to work on this issue.
Got a motion on the floor for us to go ahead and designate city administrator to go ahead and put a workshop together for us.
I'll go ahead and second that, and like I said, I'd like to see if we get this done as soon as possible, so that way we can encompass the subdivisions.
one last comment, Mike, because that printout that I handed you right there, that's our policy on PIDs. So there's a difference, of course, between these other subdivisions and the PID, because as you'll notice, the PIDs must be self-sufficient and not require the city to incur any cost associated with the formation of the PID, bond issuance costs, PID administration, or the construction of PID improvements. So, I mean, they have that in place, and I feel like this is, of course, something that we need to talk about, but I also feel like the developer, they're trying to save some money on their end and maximize their profits.
They got the cost for the installation of lights and street lights and all that, but what they want from the city is to take on that monthly recurring cost forever. And it's like,
And as Lynette said, it's a $4,500 a month expense that we're already incurring with our existing lights. So I mean, yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's a PID, so they shouldn't have got a PID, I guess, is my argument.
I think in the workshop, we need to identify the PID and it's pretty specific, but and then HOAs. So, be able to do that. All right. All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Okay, there you go, Matt.
More work now.
Could we
Little bit more.
invite the developers to our workshop?
Jesse, I mean,
if y'all want to invite, it's an open workshop. We publicize it. they want to show up, they can.
Okay, we're about, I think the next one, let's see, Jesse, you think we'll have a lot of discussion, or you got a few things, concerns?
I don't think it'll take too terribly long.
Pretty strong, okay, let's go ahead and take care of this, and then we'll go into a break. So I discuss and consider the possible action on amending the truck route ordinance to designate certain streets for the use of the truck traffic.
So council, you got a map on what our current route is for prohibited trucks. It's very short, and it's like, on this road from this intersection to that intersection. What I gave was kind of a map and highlighted those sections. What we're looking at doing before we really start to grow and have truck stops here is limit where trucks are just allowed, So we can't tell them, and Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, we can't say you cannot use a state road, right? We can't do anything for state roads, but we can say you're not allowed on municipal streets, which would then only allow them on the state roads.
And the city can also work with TxDOT in terms of regulating truck traffic on the state roads. So if, for example, they want to designate certain state roads
Truck
for
routes.
truck traffic, then that may be something we can talk to TxDOT about. Also speed limits and other kinds of, features that, signage and the like that might help direct the truck traffic in a certain way. But currently, the city does not prohibit truck traffic on the city streets except for the specified segments that are identified by ordinance. So otherwise, a truck could go on these other streets if they wanted to. What a lot of cities do is go the other way, which is they only specify certain specific city streets as truck routes, and then otherwise you're prohibited. Lyle's a little different in that you have quite a number of farmer market state roads that go through the city. So the upside of that is that those are maintained by TxDOT, so the city has to maintain that. But on the other hand, it also limits the city's power because cities by state law can control its streets, the city streets, but they can't control the interstate highway. So I-35 is off, and all of the state roads are on.
So the good thing is, if we said we didn't want truck traffic on municipal streets, and then it keeps them on the state roads, and there's enough state roads through our town that trucks going through our town, not doing local deliveries or anything like that, can traverse our town to get where they need to and stay on the state roads, which are larger and typically safer for a truck to be on versus one driving down your city street.
And this doesn't
Because
take
they
away
wanted to
from,
bypass.
yeah, this doesn't take away from your deliveries and stuff like that, so.
And those were the ones you stated in item C, right?
Yeah, for deliveries, yeah. If you're making a local delivery, then the truck can use the city
Well,
street.
where you include the, like, farm to market roads. And
Oh, yes, that's right, yeah.
that
Yeah,
list.
we want to keep them on the farm to market. But I don't think we can say you can only use farm to market roads. We'd have to prohibit the use on.
Yeah, we
municipal
mentioned
streets.
ours. Yeah.
Right now, we have certain streets you can't use, we just list them all.
So,
Go ahead. No, go
so by
ahead.
amending by amending the ordinance, you're gonna remove the current map? The one that you had attached?
Yeah, basically, the one we had attached would be
Gone.
updated, it'd be gone, and it would
Okay.
just, every municipal street would be included. You cannot put a truck or use it for through traffic. Trucks would have to stay on these state roads that we listed. Unless there's there's an emergency or something, the police direct them down that road or they.
Specifically, the current draft that's attached in your packet is based off another one that we worked on for
Right.
another city. And what we did is they similarly prohibited it on all city streets except for certain designated routes. What you see on page 3 at the bottom, those Romanettes 1 through 4, those are the info that I got from a map, but I pointed out that all of those are existing state roads, so we really can't control that. The only other change would be that I did roll over from the existing ordinance is there's a prohibition of parking in the parking lot around this building.
Oh, city.
Yeah, and then I also threw in city parks, so just don't get creative. But, so that would be the other alternative, just to eliminate parking, this would be oversized vehicles, obviously, for parking in this parking lot. It would be a convenient place to pull over sometime, so looking into that possibility as well as city parks. But currently, unless there's a specific city street that you think would be great with truck traffic, council would identify what those, include that in paragraph 2. But otherwise,
That's
additional
stated.
draft, I put what the info that I got.
I was gonna say, Somerset people. It ends over near, MH Mart, and then becomes a state highway.
Because it's Benton City Road,
Yes.
up till it meets the state FM 3175. The problem is, if you start at 3175, you hit Benton City Road, become a municipal street, and now you can't use it. So you would ultimately stop into traffic on that road, through traffic, because there's no way for them to go.
I've seen 18 wheels driving through there.
So that's where the PD comes in. We set up a trap.
Well, they-
Snare 'em all.
And so the state's already got something on there.
Yeah.
Where they prohibit trucks over, I think, what was it on there, like
3 tons or something. There's a weight, 30,000,
something like
yeah,
that.
15
That was something
tons.
that I found that I'm assuming the state had already put out for us.
I know I was at the red light one time back there, and there was a truck, 18 wheeler trying to turn.
Let me tell you where that's coming from, and why we're getting them on Prairie Street. These darn GPS maps. They'll be coming from San Antonio to make a delivery out at like the animal shelter, okay? And it'll route them up through on Prairie Street. And I literally pull guys over, and you know, it does happen a lot, you know, but, and they're sitting there going, man, I'm sorry, but you know, I thought I had to come here to make, the map told me to go. So, you know, but Somerset Street and Prairie Street are probably the big ones where we have problems with that.
And we can identify those and put signage up.
We have signs, we have new signs.
Yeah.
The ordinance also requires the city, directs the city staff to install signage and required to be designated certain streets for, as a truck route, we could put signs up there also.
If we wanted them on.
How does this affect truck drivers living in the city limits and they can't bring their trailers in, park them at their house overnight or
We do have a couple residents, one I'm thinking of one on my street, one on.
your neighbor Richie's got his truck parked out there right now.
It's a nice truck.
It is. I like the graphics on
Driveway,
it.
But I know we've got one in Saddle Ridge, it's parking actually on the road. I mean, the road getting into the new construction, but he's parked there and we're out inspecting the road. He's got a massive oil leak as well. It's leaking all the oil out of the truck right onto the road, which is eventually going to be out the road right now.
Some cities don't allow it, don't allow a truck to be parked, an oversized vehicle like that to be parked in a residential area. I know, for example, like in Carson City, what they do is if you're a truck driver and you have your own truck, you park it over at the truck stop area where they park it. That's also where the vehicle's often serviced, so if it has a leak or something like that. So they maintain them there, and then they have to use another passenger vehicle to get to their home.
I think sometimes, looking at that, sometimes like in Saddle Ridge, it's gonna be a big issue. But we've got some people that have, 3 or 4 acres, and there might not be anything wrong with them. I mean, it might be a different scenario. But Saddle Ridge, I've already seen the issue erupting over there.
Well, I mean, we just did the RV ordinance, regarding
Yeah.
parking, right? Keeping the RVs out of streets.
Keep them off the street. If you
Off
have
the
room, you can
streets,
park it.
yeah, if you have room on your lot, then by all means, but parking it on the city streets becomes a safety hazard.
Even more.
So is this going to be included?
We just, have y'all want to move forward? Y'all can direct this to amend and we can.
Yes, it's a policy decision. It's possible that you could have a resident that lives off a state road.
Right.
And so they could drive their truck on the state road to their residence, and so they would not be violating a prohibition, general prohibition on city driving on state roads. And then if there's no prohibition of parking an oversized vehicle on their property, then that would be allowed.
Well, I think Matt brought Saddle Ridge out there on the city street, and it's already creating a problem. So to nip it in the bud, I mean, one down the street from Chief is on his property, and I like the graphics on the truck too. It's very nice. Yeah, no, he's a Navy vet,
And
so
they have a large lot.
they have a large. Yeah, it's an acre lot, but for these lots that are 6,000 square feet, you can't.
And his is not creating a traffic hazard at all.
So you could create a carve out if you're allowed to drive your truck. We already created an exception for local delivery. You could also allow an exception for parking the vehicle at their personal residence.
But it'll have to be in their property.
Yeah, if it's on their property, not on the city, you're not allowed any parking.
So there you go.
Located entirely on their lot.
And again, some of the RVs, it would have to be from the
Do we need to-
parking area.
We need to specify just the tractor only?
Yes.
Okay, so we probably want,
Unless you want them to bring.
because they could have the whole,
Truck and trailer. I don't got a city street, you can park a truck, and, you know.
I'm just
out and
saying.
back it in.
somebody tried, I'm just saying, if this is the time that we're gonna say that we're gonna allow it, we can just identify that it'd be the tractor only, and it would be within the property lines.
I
So,
think that'd be reasonable.
Yeah, and it's just difficult to maneuver so many big trailers down those streets, but I know from down there are several people that have the tractors parked. And then there's one back behind the park there, he parks in his front yard, big yard.
all right,
But it wouldn't hurt anything to include the trailer.
Hmm?
It wouldn't hurt anything to include the trailer in the language as well.
to allow it to
No,
be,
to disallow.
yes,
We
to
just
disallow
make
it.
sure it's-
That's correct.
Definitely.
So do we need to come back on this, or do we just?
No, we can do it as amended.
Amended.
Yeah.
So I want to make a motion to accept the amendments to the truck route ordinance to designate certain streets for use by truck traffic as presented, in addition to making the amendments as discussed.
Second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. Okay, it's 8:05. Let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break. Appreciate that. All right, here we go.
Audio live.
Oh, you can go ahead and put us down for, goes back at 8:18. Excuse me. All right, council, let's go ahead and move on. We're doing good on time. We still have some reports and stuff to take care of. Last item in the open session is M, discuss and consider ordinance number 22-03, amending section 46 of the city code of ordinance, regulating the location of modular buildings in the land located in B1 neighborhood, commercial B2, secondary commercial, and B3, central business zoning districts.
I'm gonna let Jesse take the lead on this one. I just got this halfway through today, so I've had a chance to completely go through.
Thank you, Matt. The ordinance before you is based off a similar project that we did for another city, but in short, the state legislature passed the law in 2005 that largely stripped away a city's ability to regulate location of what they call industrialized buildings, which includes modular buildings. And it established a policy where basically the cities cannot use their zoning to limit the location of industrialized buildings. They're prohibited from, specifically prohibited from locating, restricted them only to, a mobile and modular home type districts. And they are prohibited from imposing additional requirements beyond what they would otherwise require for regular, traditional, on-site constructed buildings. So that has largely eliminated a lot of the powers of cities to regulate buildings. Instead, the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, TDLR, established statewide standards for construction of modular buildings. And kind of like with mobile homes, they put a little seal on the modular building indicating that it complied with the state law standards. And cities basically can't impose additional requirements on them. So what some cities are doing instead is they impose the same requirements on a modular building as they would a traditional building. So in this case, what it would do, it would require that if a zoning code is locate a modular building in a non-residential area, so again, this would not apply for residences, it would only be for buildings located in your commercial districts and your industrial district. If they were located, then they're required to construct a foundation, a permanent foundation for that modular building. And so just like a traditional building, they would be required to design the foundation, which would involve geotechnical type work. They would then need to design all the utilities going up underneath the foundation. They require, and then submit those plans, pull a permit with the city, being subject to inspection by the city, just like a regular building. And then at that point, the city would to verify that the modular building has the proper seal, it is in fact been approved, and the foundation, and the overall design, the permit that they received, and get it go for them. But so that is one way of addressing the regulation of modular buildings in the city of Vital, in fact, or any city in Texas for that matter, because that is largely all the authority that what you can do. The other thing you can do beyond that is perhaps require a permit to move the modular building through the city streets to be delivered to that location. Sometimes that's included as part of the permitting process anyway.
I think we already have that.
Yeah, if you're gonna build a mod into your, like a storage shed, you gotta get a permit to have it.
So we already have that.
So maybe it's just an anomaly anyway. So, but that kind of then ensures some of the concerns that I think that I heard through Matt, I guess from council was, they're worried about basically somebody just plunking down a modular building on a vacant lot and then just having, exposed water, sewer lines, and electrical lines, just kind of minimal skirting around it, and that's their building. And so, but instead, it's required to comply with standard construction type levels that you would have for other traditional buildings. They would be required to comply with that. So that would be permissible under the state law. So that's what we're discussing.
So as long as they have a foundation, they can build a container bar sort of deal. I mean, I've seen them in Austin, I've seen them in San Antonio, right? That they have whatever, 6-10 shipping containers that but I'm sure that they adhere to building
Yeah, they still have to
code.
meet all the fire codes, building codes and all that, and that seems to be more of the kind of hip norm. And some of the ones I've seen are actually pretty nice. But we're more concerned on the mall, but you go down lot that sells, what I would look at as a shed, you know, for my backyard. They pull that in here to Main Street and just park it there and temporarily run some power and sewer to it. And all of a sudden they're running the business out of it. We're saying we can't prevent you from bringing that type of building in, but what we're saying is you're going to have to construct it no different or place it no different than you would something you were to build. You got to put a foundation, your plumbing, everything's got to come through the foundation, and it's going to
Becomes
as
permanent.
nice as possible and be a permanent structure.
Is that correct? Yes, it becomes
Yes, that's
permanent.
correct. And the state law currently only applies, and the draft ordinance relates to that as well, for modular buildings in excess of 1,500 square feet. So the cities have more latitude for those kind of modular type buildings under 1,500 square feet. You know, so right now, we track the state statute and start the regulation at 1,500, but you could similarly apply to even smaller buildings. So if you really had a smaller type structure, a really kind of mini type building, you know, then you could get it down to, you know, 100, 150 square feet, or, you know, 200 square feet, something really small.
Or not allow it?
Or you
Or
could
possibly
also-
not allow it?
You could also just prohibit them for buildings under, any modular buildings under 1,500 square feet, just prohibited. The state doesn't regulate those, so TDLR's, there is no decal for modular buildings under 1,500 square feet, because they don't regulate that. So the cities can just say, no, we don't want those. Unless it's a temporary, like we were talking earlier, like an RV or some type of temporary work. And then there's a carve out for temporary, like a modular building that might be like a construction office, a temporary. That's a carve out in the ordinance for that right now. So
So you're saying include that in here?
Right, to not allow it?
That's on page 4, at the top of page 4. Talks about temporary location.
Right.
I mean, there's still requirements that have to be met for
Correct.
them to be able to use it as a temporary structure.
It's a temporary.
I think this, if I'm hearing this right, we would say you're not allowed to have anything 1,500 square foot or less, period. If
Right.
1,500 square foot or above, TDLR regulates that, and you can have that if you do this now, negative permanent structure.
What about storage shed? How, what's that do about the storage shed?
That would be a primary
It's
structure.
not, it's correct.
As long as you're not
ancillary
conducting
structure.
business.
Okay, ancillary structure, that
Yeah,
makes
you have a storage, you just couldn't
Yeah,
run
gotcha.
your shop out.
Now, that makes sense.
Okay.
I think it would be pretty hard pressed anyways to
Run anything out of a single container. I mean, you're looking at 8 foot wide by 40 feet deep at most, probably. So
What I've seen, like this project, they've taken those containers and retrofitted them to be bathrooms, and that's really all they are. They're just a bathroom, there's enough room to get in, use toilets and get out. And the other one I think you were gonna use for like cold storage and dry storage, just that.
So, I mean, total square footage of all the modular structures that he's going to have that Colin's proposing to put out there doesn't equal 1,500 feet. So he's going to have to come and get a variance, or he's going to have to get a variance to get.
Correct.
I think it's total, it would be per building, right? So if he, and I hate to bring him up, if I was gonna open a business and I wanted to go buy a portable building that was 700 square feet. If we say you're not allowed anything below 1,500, then we're already saying, no, you can't even do that 600 square foot modular building. You gotta go 1,500 square foot on a modular building or stick build something, right?
Correct, or seek a variance.
Stick a variance.
Stick a variance.
There's a variance to everything, but yeah. So how does council want to move forward?
Because if we were looking at Austin, for example, I mean, that's a variance. It could be adopted that way.
The thing, if I'm not mistaken with his, is he's already talking about putting a foundation in the bottom.
Yeah, I believe his was, yeah.
Yeah.
But if we adopt that, we're not gonna allow anything below 1,500 square foot, period. I don't remember how large his was, it could possibly knock anything out.
Yeah, we need to look at it, but that would be consideration with the variance portion of it.
There's variances there.
So. Council?
We go that way, or we say that if you have 1,500 or less than 1,500, you have to have the foundation. I mean,
Just TDR doesn't regulate those, and they don't.
Right,
have
and that's
stickers,
the-
so we're
that's
just
the issue.
dependent on whoever built it, started using it.
Well, then you would just apply your standard building code.
yes,
Your IBC standard for electric, water, all of the actual physical structure. So
And that
the
would cover it.
IBC standard would apply. Right. The difference is that for the modular construction, buildings in excess of 1,000 square feet, by virtue of the fact that they have the sticker, that means that they've already complied with that.
and the requirements are stipulated in what the foundation needs to be.
Correct, and then
Yeah.
your foundation construction would be under your IBC standards, right? So they would have to construct that per your code.
Right.
No matter what y'all do tonight, everything that happens here in the city is inspectable. When we know about it, it gets inspected, and when we find out about it, it gets inspected by the commercial, the building inspector, the plumbing inspector, code compliance, the fire marshal, everybody. They're all gonna get inspected to ensure they're built to our codes.
So anything over is subject to state law, right? Regulations. Anything under 1,500 is going to be up to us. Do we have that as far? I mean, it just defaults to the building code.
Correct, right now, but the way that the ordinance is written, it would just default to your standard, building code. That's what it would operate now. This ordinance wouldn't apply, because it would not apply to buildings under 1,500 square feet, right? Modular buildings under 1,500 square feet. So then your standard building code standard would then apply to that structure.
So would we need a separate ordinance for anything less than 1,500 if we wanted to be more restrictive as far as, okay, it's adherent to the building code, but hey, we're requiring.
You could add additional requirements if you wanted to, yes, you can. In the absence of that, then the standard IBC codes would then apply. Unless you just outright prohibited them under 1,500 square feet, and then they would then have to come with a variance application. That's the other.
I mean, I seem to remember this coming up while I was deployed, and I think what I said back whenever it was September, October timeframe, maybe, that I've seen some really nice modular buildings. A lot of the ones that I was looking up previously, they're probably over 1,500. They were probably thousands and thousands of square feet. But I mean, even something like what Colin's talking about doing down the street here, a block away. I mean, it has the potential to be nice if done correctly. And I guess, I mean, that should be our big concern, is that if someone's going to be bringing in these modular buildings, that it's kind of fitting into what direction we want to go as a city.
I think that gives us the flexibility if we put some sort of requirement for us to at least take a look at it versus it just being an automatic.
You can specify that buildings under 1,500 square feet will just comply with the city's international building code standards. That would be applied.
That would be placed on the foundation, if that's the job.
Yes. Yeah, I think we need to put the foundation portion on it.
I think otherwise we'll wind up with a bunch of buildings moved in on the dirt somewhere. At least with the foundation, to me, it would look a little better.
It'd be permanent.
Have your plumbing running through that versus.
The other side of this is, depending on what they're doing too, is in the facility, there's certain requirements for sanitation purposes. They got to have certain things in there. If they're going to be serving or anything, they got to have the sinks, they have, all that stuff. So that's part of the inspection that goes along with that. But I will tell you that not within our city limits, but pretty nearby, there's some people that are trying to figure out a way to put other stuff near us without following the appropriate sanitation rules. So we need to be cognitive of making sure that we're helping each other and we're making it better for us.
So as far as the foundation is concerned, right, you got a slab, you got pier and beam. I mean, if someone has a pier and beam, their plumbing is going to kind of be exposed underneath it. I mean, is that something that we could restrict as far, hey, if it's going to be a modular building that it rests on slab foundation? I mean, I think a big concern, right, going back to safety, right, is that these buildings, these modular buildings, are anchored properly to these slabs because, in the off chance that a tornado comes through here, it's just a torpedo sort of deal.
Or just line up the wings one night.
and lift it off. I mean, I don't know, am I gonna, even pretend to be an expert on building code, but I know that like mobile homes, for example, they have to meet a certain standard to strap those things down as well.
But strapping them down is not considered permanent. In a sense of just strapping, it's actually,
Well, I think that's what we're talking about. It's even with a mobile home, there is some regulations on how to permanently fix, and that's what we're.
yeah, but
talking
they're
about.
considered to be moved. But that's not what we're aiming for. What we're aiming for is for them to be permanently affixed.
And I think Charles is leaning towards that. Give you just an example of a mobile home. Even a mobile home has requirements for strapping and securing it somehow.
So the requirements for over 1,500, we're also going to impose those on modular units for less than 1,500. Those same requirements. Foundation, in plumbing within the
I
foundation.
think that's what council wants to do.
Yes.
And the ordinance currently requires what they refer to as a permanent foundation system. So it would be a slab or pier beam or similar type of permanent construction. Pier beam structures have been around for a long time. It does allow you to pull utilities underneath it, from under, between all the piers, but they're not exposed in the same way that you would if you just put skirting around, on there, just on jacks or something like that. So they have to be securely attached to some type of permanent foundation. So that does, I think, address some concerns that the council has. And I think that the concern was just that sometimes they literally just have pipes running across the ground, leading up and around the building, which would not be allowed.
Right, and that's what I'm getting at. We should have the same restrictions and compliances that the 15 over.
Yeah.
Who puts that motion in?
Just read some of the stuff on here. Yep. Okay.
So let me start it. Want to make a motion for the ordinance 2303, amending section 46 of the city code of ordinances regulating the location of modular buildings on land located in B1 neighborhoods, commercial, B2 secondary commercial, and B3 central business zoning districts, and to also include language for the 1,500 and above. I think that's already included.
That's included.
Okay, so now to amend it to include modular buildings of 1,500 or less, and the requirements that we spoke of. I hope you get that filed.
I'll second that.
Just writing some stuff down. Okay, discussion?
Yeah, I heard the discussion about poured slab as opposed to a beam. We probably need to make sure we don't specify only slab, because pier and beam is a suitable permanent foundation.
It's a permanent type foundation.
Right. So I just want to make sure that there's no wording in there that specifies only a slab.
No, it is not.
All right, as long as it's a permanent foundation, I think that's what it is.
That it's securely attached. It says a permanent foundation system of the building, securely attached. That's what
You know how to do that.
it's worded that way.
Requires a little extra work to make it permanent, but it can be done.
Right, but that's the way we need to do it, particular city.
I mean, too, for the benefits of taxing purposes, it's going to be real property and it's going to be taxed differently than personal. The value is going to be higher. And they can't, they don't pay their taxes. They can't just drive off in the middle of the night with it.
Yep. Okay. Any other further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thanks for all the work, Jesse, on that one too. Appreciate it. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move on and jump right into the departmental reports. First one that we have is Animal Control Director's report. There you go, Santi. How you doing? How many USB ports do you have there? Just one? Because then give him the mouse and he can just click on this instead of trying to move that. Huh?
All right, so January, you had 111 calls. Service transferred 47 dogs out, 47 animals, intake 45. But including the 45, 9 were born in the city, that's what I counted for. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add another little thing with how many surrenders we take. We took in 10 surrenders, so we actually took in like 25 dogs, including the ones that were born and then the ones that were surrendered.
So we, for the council's information, you actually got in the last month 47 dogs
Out, yes.
out. Now that's dogs and cats. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So dogs and cats.
And so our count, animal count, our dogs are 40, about 40, still the same. 9 cats, which is dropped, which is good.
Do you think we can get down to 30 for next month?
We're trying. I have 2 appointments this next month with the Humane Society. They're going to be taking like 4 large and 2 on days. Or in rescue as well. We had Sunday had a photographer come out, take pictures of all our animals to send out to rescue and stuff like that. So it's gonna help us. 8 dogs, 6 nets, 1 dog to Diamond Dot Rescue. 10 cats Humane Heroes, 7 to Rescue Pet Movements, 8 to 6 cats Humane Society, and 7 dogs to Snitza. Many of the Snitzas are all usually small dogs or puppies that they take from us. Nothing really big to it. Had a total of 5 volunteers, totaling up to 23 and a half hours. We've had a total of
One below that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
6.
it's
I had to adjust it. We had actually 7 adopted in January. The Fellas Pantry had 25 owners. Pet owners come. Most was from Natalia, 36, as you can see. Lido, 29 people. Divine, 22. Atascosa, which is that kind of the Bear County area, 16. Divine, more. Somerset, Mount Army. There, this is the biggest one we had. A lot of people come out to get food from us since 2013.
And we were busy this weekend too.
Yes, we were busy.
Santi did a great job this past weekend, getting everything set up.
Your pictures from our adoption event in January. All the animals that went. This gentleman and his kids ended up adopting 2 dogs, brother and sister. This was one of the little dogs that went home. This one, the little guy actually got done the same day in the adoption event. Bob, we call him Bob Barker. This one was a foster, but actually they ended up adopting him instead. So, which is good. These were the 9 puppies that were dumped out on Wisdom Road, just past the creek, right there. They're all in the back right here. 2 of them were in bad condition, but they're doing a lot better now. It's like this right here, number 9 right here, is the dog bag of dog food, which one of the dogs were in. That was on January 7th. Said upcoming event, still our yard sale. Starting to move stuff to the community center right now. Started to get it set up.
I saw the tables out. Can I go ahead and pull them out and set it up?
Sure.
If you don't want to.
We have the hiring with going
No, these are the.
No, that's the annex.
Yeah.
We don't have anybody renting it anymore? No more rentals?
Something, tomorrow, send me that flyer, please.
Yes.
Just so I don't forget to put it on the Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if you can send it to Richie and myself.
I'll get a big.
And then, that's it, and Rachel, I went to that opening, lot shop for Lidl, area. Pizza, that's what she told me.
Yeah, she actually, you guys put some pamphlets out there in the shops of Lidl, and they're sitting on a turn kiosk.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
Beezer, am I saying his last name? When they're have like the farm market or the marketplace, they're gonna allow us to come out, maybe bring a dog or two to have out there, hand out pamphlets, and then anything they sell that day, they're gonna donate 10% of that to us. So they're gonna be helping us out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they're gonna be doing that for us, so. Money will go to spay neuter or
This past week, it was there, and then they did it across the street. They had all these Jeeps. They had like a gathering of Jeeps with the take a few
Past
dogs.
Saturday?
Say that this dog looks really good with a Jeep, you know?
right there. Right, is it by the bakery club?
Yeah, there was a
I
bunch
saw
of
that
Jeeps.
oil. I don't know what that was.
That was tons.
Something on Long Road.
It was like 20, at least 20 Jeeps, right?
But yeah, they're gonna be working with us to help promote adoption as well. So
That'll be good.
something to look forward
Little by
to.
little, just to get it to where it's manageable based on your facility. but
Yes,
it's not-
definitely.
So I know you guys get those last minute stuff that pops out like the 9 puppies, you
Yeah.
know, but
Then like, and then when we get dogs in, we don't know that they're pregnant, and they end up having, like, we just had one that had actually 11 puppies.
oh well.
So yeah, it's something.
We'll just keep working it. Make it
Yes,
easier
definitely.
for you guys, and you're hiring right now,
Yes,
right?
I don't know if you.
No applications.
Okay, that'll be good.
All right.
Council,
Any questions?
okay, thank you. All right, library, Sandra.
All right, our computer usage, it's a little up, it's up and down actually, 76. The kids had a lot more. They were taking turns, like, and it's only a 20-minute session on each of those kids per year, so they had to take turns. And they're like, I'm still wanting to play it. Well, gotta let somebody else get on now. Our circulation went up in 1,415. Then the Simply E has gone up some more. We now have 13 total users and 25 loans are out right now. And more people are coming in and finding out about it, so they're coming up, so they can check out stuff, or download stuff actually. We had 11 new library cards, 32 renewals, and April made 26 library cards. We're still working on the craft nights. We have a couple people interested, but they're waiting on a date. I think we're gonna try it sometime in March. And then story time is still going on. I gotta send you that flyer for it. Library sections, we're almost done with the adult, well, not the adult nonfiction, we're still working on that. We are almost done with the graphic novels. We missed those somehow or another when we were doing those, that were kind of go. So now we are on the adult nonfiction. And we have about, I finished all of one side, so we're down one middle section that has two rows of it, so it's like 18 on one, 16 on one side, and then 16 on the other side, so that's what we have left. We're working slowly, but we're getting it. And we're still offering the curbside, because of course, people who don't want to come, but we also have people who have little ones, and it's easier for them. If the kids are sick, they just call and say, I'm gonna come pick up this date, and it makes it easier for them, they just park and take it up. And these were our programs and displays. We had Winnie the Pooh's birthday, I can't remember what date it was, I think it was the 18th of January. And then we had sorry, I'm not in my glasses.
Yeah, tea.
Tea, okay, and then the other one was soup, and then Chinese New Year, and it's the year of the rabbit. And then this one was, it's hobby month, so we had all the different hobby books, and everybody kept saying, can we take these? I'm like, yes, they're available for checkout. So they kind of cleaned it up, so we, every time it emptied out, we have to put new ones up. But that was good. And then we had staff picks, people were picking those as well. And then that last one, was Martin Luther King. And like I said, they're still working on those nonfiction, and we're almost complete with the donations for the summer, the storytime program. I'm almost, my cart's almost completely full. Submit the order. That's about it. Does anybody have any questions?
Is there anything you need from us?
Right now?
Do you have any book recommendations?
We've had a lot of people coming in, reading different things. Right now, there's one called, chemistry, what is it called? Lessons in Chemistry. And then somebody's gonna read it, so they talked about that book, they really liked it. And then there is, a new author named Melinda Lee. And she has, this one lady said she couldn't put it down. She was like, I was gonna go to sleep, and she goes, nope, I gotta finish it. So she stayed up till she could, I can't remember the, Tracy Oswald is the, character in the series. A lot of new stuff. There's actually a lot of new authors that we've been bringing in instead of the traditional Patterson and Grisham, and they just keep popping up. I'm like, okay, so then I'll put them out there, and they're like, oh, this is a new book, so people are checking it out.
You just gave me a flashback of the old Nancy Drew mysteries and was it the Brady Boys? Hardy Boys, there you go. See, those are the old flashback moments stuff. Luke, did Richie ever tell you about those books?
Well, I actually read a bunch of Hardy.
Yeah, we're old style at my house.
I have like maybe 100 Hardy Boys up on the shelf.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Those are the old school ones that we had. All right. Thank you, Cassandra. Appreciate that. Okay. Super Skip. There you go.
It's gonna be short this week. This past month, had brush at the right of way early at 4 locations. I advised to make the proper timeline. Already this month, I've had 5 people put brush out in different locations this period. I'm gonna talk to them tomorrow. I had 2 properties maintained. There's hardly anything growing yet, except some weeds. Certain types of weeds are growing, but as far as people maintaining their yards, there hasn't been a need for it yet, but it's coming. I checked 10 new construction permits and locates, and I made a record of removing bulky waste and debris, collecting 54 locations this past month. Now, this wasn't a lot of stuff. Some of it was, but most of it was small stuff. People were putting out earlier, just putting out there for somebody to come along and pick up that they may be able to utilize. The same goes, somebody's junk might be somebody's prize or that effect. So a lot of times I'll leave it sit out there for several days, maybe a week. And if it doesn't get picked up, I go ahead and pick it up and take care of it, just try to clean up the street a little bit. I also advise these people of the new quarterly schedule, waste management, bulky waste pickup. And at several of these locations, advise the residents to use the city dumpster, one of the city dumpsters at the city shop, 8 cubic yard. It's not the one for the cardboard, but it's inside the city shop to get rid of the bulky waste they've had sitting out there. I'm trying to be really careful about that because I use it too, of course, to throw stuff in. And I'm trying not to get it overfilled. That's basically it.
Well, we got ours, the big one on the 6th of May, right?
Right. That's for the 4 roll-offs.
4 of them. Because people are asking me about that, and I appreciate that.
So what we're trying to do is it's right after we do our regular quarterly pickup. So whatever doesn't get picked up because of whatever reasons, then you can tell the folks that they can actually bring it over here and put it in the dumpster.
The 4th Monday in April and then May 6th.
Yeah, so we're coordinate that way, so please make sure.
When you say the 4th Monday in April, that's also
That's when they-
when bulk, that's when bulk waste is picked up.
Yeah.
On
they
the
just
Sunday,
do the town.
it'll be the weekend right after that, because they drive through town Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Will it be the weekend after they drive through?
Might be. Hold on. So,
Yes, it'll be the weekend.
Yeah.
After.
so
And it-
1, 2, 3, 4. Yep.
One if you want to finish your house, the other one if you want to bring it to us.
So the Monday, Tuesday, that would be the, no, actually it'd be 2 weeks. Because it would be the 24th, right? 24th, 25th is when we would have our bulk pickup. So it wouldn't be the 29th, it would be the 6th. So it'd be until the following weekend. Yeah. So there'll be a weekend in between, but still, that gives them a chance to go ahead and whatever doesn't get picked up. But we're gonna line them up that way so they can go ahead and
And
take
that's
care of this.
pretty much how it's gonna be lined up the rest of the year.
Whenever we
Yeah,
do
we'll
these,
try, yeah.
yeah, whenever we do 2 a year, so whenever we do them, we'll try to do them that way.
Yes,
So we can take care of that. Okay.
Thank you.
Council, anything? Thanks, Skip, appreciate it. Okay. James. There we go, James.
Good evening, everyone. We did a total of 147 work orders in January, installed 10 new meters, replaced three service lines, and repaired one service line leak. Found 4 leaks on the customer side, that's water, and we had 4 sewer main stoppages in January. Locates, we did 24, rereads water and gas 73, finals on gas 8. New water and gas customers 10, cut off list 3, we reconnected all 3. Miscellaneous work orders 19. There's kind of a chart on the work orders. Monthly man hours, water installation 10, water maintenance 128.5. Sewer maintenance 18, sewer plant maintenance 142. Meter reading 64 hours, rereads 32. And no asphalt or base work. Man hours again, locates 24 man hours, burn brush 48, miscellaneous 264.5 for a total of 731. There's a chart on that.
So James, did I read that? So we had almost half the same time for rereads?
Well, rereads, a lot of our rereads come after we,
But you do the initial, right?
after billing.
Yeah.
We do initially and then people
You spend
call for
almost
about 2 weeks.
almost half.
That's where getting the radio reads are gonna help us, because they go out and read it, they bring those numbers in, our staff finds something wrong with it, says, hey, we want you to go reread that meter, something's wrong with the number.
Wait a minute, that's maybe
Yeah, I know.
10 or 12.
So you get some of those,
So, yeah.
then bills go out and people aren't happy about their bills and they want rereads, that's where a lot of those hours are coming in.
They'll say, well, you'll say, well, my bill's too high, can you send James out here?
Did you ever figure out whether or not we would give them like so many rereads, people can call in, and then after that we start charging them?
We're only doing one. In my opinion, if you call us, if my bill's high, I want you to come out and reread my meter. We come out and reread your meter, and it's the same number, not much we can do from there.
Are you talking about every month? Somebody-
Yeah.
Oh, I see, every month somebody give it.
Yeah, I
They don't
mean,
have anything in place.
We do have reoccurring, I will say that, I can think of 3 off the top of my head. They call every month to try to say that there's a water leak, and I have to send James over there to talk to him.
I think we get some freebies, but we're also, I mean, I'm looking at go back on that, that's half. Go back. right there. So when they go out for the third week and go read, that's 64 hours, right? Is that what it says on there? Yeah. And then the rereads is 32. It's almost half of what we just to go read them.
So in a previous meeting, we discussed where we're gonna have maybe like 2 free reads a year per customer, something similar to that. Anything other than that is gonna be a charge. And that's another thing I would like to see too, is if we do currently charge or in the future we charge, I would like to see how much of that is actually paid back. So of the 32 hours, if we could bill for having to go read, I'd like to see that number up there as well. But we did discuss that in one meeting.
Then I must have missed out. I'll work with legal on drafting a new policy.
Some of the rereads are high consumption. Some are no consumption or low consumption. They send us out on those. Sometimes the guys get their numbers switched around, girls
Right.
catch it, so we go back.
But I was mainly concerned about is the customers that maybe repeatedly complain, or, I mean, I can understand if you got a high rating, you want verification on it. So that's why I was thinking about the 2 a month, 2 a year. And then after that, there would be a charge, because the city does need to recuperate some of this lost income here. I mean, that's money going out.
What is, I've been around this long, what is the percentage of people requesting it? Because the ones I'm familiar with, predominantly the city is generating the request to reread the meter. Do we know what percentage is being requested?
We probably get maybe 10 calls in a month or 2 years.
So 10.
I mean, yeah, I mean, off the
That's
top of
what I
my
was kind of
head,
curious.
a lot of it, like, I'll get transpositions in the books, and we'll have to, we look at it, or they'll come in and when we calculate, you know, they'll have a whole, like, their consumption is like 3 times higher than normal, then we automatically do a work order out there and send the boys out there and check it, just to make sure, so we get it the system right for the billing. But we do have a couple of reoccurring people that always think their water bill's too high.
So in your report, could you include customer rereads? Somehow designate customer rereads? So of those 32, maybe 10 of them, could you include that in your report?
Break down the rereads. How many are ordered by the city and how many are ordered by?
Yes. We can get an idea of where we're going.
And that's our water usage. We're allotted 785 acre feet. Their reduction was 28.6 acre feet. So we have 756.4 acre feet. And we used 39.1.
Was that what the next slide is? I'm trying to compare it to our overall, so that's 756.
Take that 39 away from the 756.
Yeah, I think they got a bar graph.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think there's one of them.
There it is. The first one there is our total, our 700 something, and then what they reduced it is the second line, and then what we pumped.
So we go by calendar year, so that's why January is there.
We started January, yes.
Okay, got it.
Do you have any questions?
All right, thanks, James.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, Richie.
Short and sweet.
I wasn't here in January, I was in chief school, and
Give us a David Lopez.
it's taken me 23 years to fine tune this.
Richie?
Yes.
Freeze.
What's going on?
Stop moving.
Don't
I wonder what you were telling me. Turn that down.
Not sure if we're good.
Can I use this now?
You just say nothing there.
Okay. That's a report. Call for service 230. These numbers here are all low still. Even the vehicle collisions, the alarm calls, business alarms, really low for the number of vehicles, number of businesses, number of residences. Patrol activity, that's your business checks at night, and your day checks, and you go in open place. Well, that's a lot of citations this in January. Big number there would be the speeding, 159, a lot of stop sign, red light tickets. All those others come with that, no insurance, the driver's license, vehicle registration. You know, I still, number one thing people tell me is this stop sign people running a lot. I sent the guys over there, I'm walking my wife, and Prairie Street, Laredo, you know, that's kind of where you are too. That's yesterday, 2 people ran it while we were walking. You know, that I saw you, sir. Yeah, well, you didn't run it though. You stopped. You stopped. But you know, a lot of that, and I don't think. I mean, I think if you had 10 policemen out there on motorcycles, you'd write 4,300 tickets a month. I mean, it's just there's just so many traffic through here, and it just doesn't slow down. I mean. So anyway, that's that data there. The racial profiling, we're gonna redo this a little bit. Adult arrest, not a tremendous amount of arrests, you know, some warrant arrests, some DWIs. We have 3 DWIs, some minor stuff, so not a lot of arrests in January. 1 juvenile arrest.
It wasn't me.
No, it wasn't Louis, that's good.
Not this one.
But
Not this one.
I'm not about to talk from back there. I did, you know, we had some darn email scams, phone scams. We've always got those going on. Working a couple fraudulent deals, $22,000 deals with Biden.
23,000.
Yeah. We worked some pretty big deals, but you know, I mean, it's just.
So is the IRS scamming people or do they pretend to be the IRS?
Well, you know, I'm 50-50 on that. I'm 50-50 on that, you know, it depends on who you ask. But so, yeah, that's where these people call and say, I'm the IRS, send me some money. They claim they're a collection company, send me some money. It's a pretty good deal. When I retire, I may look into it, I don't know. Anyway, burger, mini stores there, burger, criminal mischief, some basic, nothing too drastic there. They cut the flagpole rope at the park. I don't know what that benefited, but theft, lawnmower, not a whole lot of HEB. They had to get that van. That was my mom's van. It was stolen from over here on McDonald's Street next to O'Reilly's. It was recovered, but as we found out now, the catalytic converters were cut off. I mean, the frame might be bent. I mean, they cut the seat. Why did we cut all the seat belts out? You know, so I don't know. Maybe it was using human smuggling. You know, if I went south, come back. I guess they cut the seat belts out so people would get tangled up in it when they try to get out. I don't know. Anyway, the insurance company still, decide, I guess, whether it's, totaled or not. I don't know. Special events, not a whole lot, department head meeting, and then I went to the chief school in Huntsville. Shops a lot, David did that. That resale shop, I think we did the, certificate on it today. That is the old gun shop.
Okay.
And they basically just took that and cleaned it up a lot, and it's got guy collects crystal, a lot of crystal in there, do a crystal part a lot. I'm not big into crystal, a lot of crystal. I had some art and different things. It's a neat shop over there in a neat old building. Occasionally we filed with the Escos County Attorney's Office, filed one with an A1st, and then we filed with Dana, we filed one in one case, one charge. And where's Bear? Oh, Bear, here he is. Bear was 2 suspects with 10 charges. That's going to be on our fellas that have been on the news when they, we're not notified of the arrested. What they do is when they find out what they're arrested for, the news people go through all the booking stuff. They requested the warrant affidavits, and that's how they get all the information to write the story. So we didn't know either one of those suspects who impersonated an officer on Ball Road were arrested until we saw it in the news. So that's how we learned it. But we followed, the Rangers up in Bexar County worked with us, and each one of those guys has 5 felony charges on them. So anyway, and David actually went up and met with the district attorney's office in Bexar County, which we don't do a lot of cases with them, so we had to, it was a little more challenging. human resources, 12.9 to 125. Overtime up a little bit, down a little, sick hours. Not a lot of vacation right now, but we'll have a lot coming in the next several weeks. Auxiliary, I still got Beatrice been volunteering working in court and in the office. Some that's from January. Non-paid officers, we're down to just 2 now. And Mark's supposed to be, I think, this weekend. That's it on me. What else is going on? We have 2 vehicles ordered, 2 police vehicles ordered. One will be here maybe in, what we figured, maybe outfitted by July.
It's a rough day here.
Well, it comes in April. Yeah, it comes in May and maybe it's ready in July, outfitted. The other one comes in July or August or so, but it may not even get here until the next budget. It may be October. So we're seeing about a year on a vehicle right now. So what we're gonna have to look at, not necessarily we're gonna do it this budget year, but we may have to look at, because if it stays like this, you're gonna have to basically order vehicles, a year in advance, anticipating you're gonna need it, or because there's no other way to get it, We'll be advertising for the 2 empty positions we've got, one created by Matt coming to City Hall, and one created by the retirement of Frank Wayes. We'll be advertising starting Wednesday. And we also have an officer who is processing the highway patrol. He may or may not, make it through that and get hired. Good news is, if he does get hired, then hopefully we'll get enough applicant pool to replace him. That's a good point. That's where we are on that. I'm trying to think of what else we got going.
Saw your truck in Hondo. They're doing
I think we picked it up today.
they're doing the,
Yeah, I picked it up today. Yeah, so that one was the one that got run into on the side there, and it was at Joe's for a few weeks while I was in chief school, and then we got it back to the Hondo, so I got it back today. It's been okay, because I hadn't been around, for trying to work out okay. Anything else I'm thinking of? You ever think of anything?
the officers did a great job while you were out.
Everybody's been doing, I snuck in about every day a little bit and checked on stuff. We have another escort tomorrow, so we're doing a lot of escorts. At 2 o'clock tomorrow, I think.
Very good.
So I think everything's going pretty well. Questions?
Very good. Thanks, Richie. All right. All right. Money. Let's talk some money. We got it. There we go.
I just didn't really go into a whole lot of detail like last time, because everybody had glazed over that eyes when they did it. That didn't really come out real good, did it? So all of it, when we separate our business and our governmental revenue, we're actually not doing too bad. The only thing I don't have on here is our credit card receipts, because I still have to allocate them out for January. But overall, even after I took out all of our bonds that we just paid out here in January, which you'll see there at the bottom, we still had a profit of over $20,000. With that, we're still keeping a general fund balance of right at $1 million, so right where I wanted it to be. One of the concerns that, and I know that Matt will bring this up and stuff, I know you're gonna see a lower part in sewer there, but that's something I'll let him talk about in the long run. I'm not gonna go into detail on that, but we are not doing, I'm sorry, not sewer, on gas. Up there. So, anyway, so we are 5 months in, we're not doing too bad at all. Key highlights, Paul will go over some of this more on This Is Her, but these are our main incomes, where we stand with ad valorem, franchise, fines, sales tax, hot tax, and permits. Diane is, we budgeted 308,000, she's already at 252,000. We're doing really, really well on bringing in the fines, for sure.
I read somewhere that we actually, on our sales tax, we are the second one in Atascosa.
Yes.
So our
compared
sales
to the other
tax is coming in,
cities?
I haven't booked January or February yet because, I haven't got the bank statement yet. So I'd add that up about another 120,000 is what it says in the system we should be getting. So we're doing real good with that too. And we're right on board with hot tax and of course franchise tax comes in quarterly. Key points, I'm not gonna go through all the funds, but with the library fund, she's doing very well on her revenues. Year to date, she's there, which I can't read it 100% because I brought my close-up glasses, not faraway glasses. So, where are we at? Don't laugh at me. We're at 3514. So you're only 1,700 away from your yearly budget. So you're doing really good on your income. Animal control, on our revenues there, Santi, we're at 6,100. Your year to date revenues are only 1,700, but you have a $250 increase in donations in animal care and spay that I'm allocating in. So that's really high compared to what it was last year. And I'm assuming, I'm looking forward to the yard sale. Yes, sir. Water revenues are doing pretty good itself. One thing that we really were watching close were the water service fees after Matt had did his magic numbers. And it looks right now that we're doing really well. We budgeted yearly for 354. We're already at 347. Gas, that's something I'll let Matt kind of go into detail about. You want to talk about it right now, or you just want me to pass on it?
Just keep going.
Go. Yeah, we're
Click, click.
We're at the end of your slide.
There you go.
Okay, never mind.
So gas we're not really hitting the revenues like we knew that we're supposed to. It has jumped up a lot. The cost of gas, of course, with the economy, and we are seeing a deficit in there. So we're balanced out. Our budget amount was a little over $1 million. We bought in 240,000. That's supposed to say sewer, not water. But we're pretty much where we need to be. But those are just the key points of where we're at. Any questions?
One question.
Sure.
What's the status of our audit?
Our audit. Debbie was out. She went to go see her grandbaby, and she ended up getting the flu, and they went around the whole office. She did send me an email today. We're hoping by the next council meeting that she will be here to present, or probably Jacob will be here to present. There wasn't any real big hiccups in the audit.
And now that the audit's over, we're gonna be able to change the chart of accounts, split everything, and then look at budget amendments coming up the next.
Once I get the adjusting numbers, then we're gonna split everything out, then we'll, as soon as I do that, I'll fix the chart of accounts, and then we will do the amendments, and then we'll put it for the council again for y'all to review. Any other questions?
Good. Get it all laid out.
We knew that this year was going to be a little, questionable because of the way, we were trying to really look at those numbers because we didn't really have a history to put together a real budget. We had numbers that were just kind of placed wherever they needed to be. So we knew that this year was going to be like a telltale sign of what we had the more, control of where the allocations went, so we knew what we were really spending.
That'll be good as we jump into next year's budget.
Right.
So
So you normally, you
based
don't
on-
get a real budget in a situation like this for 2 to 3 years. Then you have to really know. And then, of course, all the changes in the economy are helping matters and all the, all the growth there.
Little by little. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. All right. You got a peanut gallery over there?
I just told her, do the best you can. Try to be supportive.
All right. All right.
had 26 permits total. In construction, 6 was the biggest one. We have some new ones for this month. Concrete last week, I was to touch 5 of those. Most of them were all just 1 or 2 that came in. Building inspections for buildings were 20. Test review, frame electrical and AC were 4. 5 wind walkways 1, 3, 4, 2, and of course our final spell was the big ones for 11. Plumbing was slow. 12 and 1 for the finals. Collections of taxes, we have collected 45,575.51 cents in abnormal taxes, 451.61 for delinquent, 764.42 were penalty and interest, 108.86 in attorney cost, and 89.31 for the LRPs. We are still waiting on True Automation to remove all of the refunds that we did, just to make sure that everything zeroes out in our system, so Atascosa County can move on and do our taxes over there, but they're gonna be waiting for about maybe a whole week just to do all that.
Okay.
We'll be down for a whole week, the computers will be down for a whole week. You can ask me to put the financial report for council members. I had turned in from the mayor, Mr. Emery, Mr. Gonzalez, and Mr. Cortez. The only ones that are pending will be Mr. Moore and Mr. King.
Michael Rodriguez.
Oh, sorry. Gonzalez? I picked up Gonzalez like that. I don't even know who Gonzalez
Get you
is.
in there. So.
He might have to call him.
Sorry, sir. Wrong Leslie.
I've been found out.
Real.
Any questions that we have?
No, let's just take care of this paperwork. Let's go ahead and turn it in. It's one of the requirements that we have, so let's get it done. Try to take care of that. Nope, thank you. Keep us posted. Look forward to all that tax stuff being done. That'd be good.
We're right there with the tax. They say, you gotta do this now. It was supposed to be not take payments for a day, 24 hours. Now it's not doing anything for a week. But we're just, never hit fast.
Get her done.
Do it as quick as we can, so.
Get her done.
So I'll go over my report once it's up, but I emailed it to the council earlier today. Touch on the high points here. How we spending the money? There it is. On the 8.5 million, I did the streets for the repaving project, but the mayor was able to send to me the 2017 survey where we paid that company come out and survey all of our streets and rate them good, poor, up. So I sent that to our engineers and said, hey, before you go doing all this work, review this first and then give me your thoughts. One of the things we're bidding, if we do the streets, is just to come out and retop them, and then to come out and say, let's raise the manholes. So we can come out and just put pavement right over the top like we've done for years. The problem is, we got to go find the manhole, chip the pavement out of the manhole, make sure it's still there, and then the manhole sits a couple inches lower. So raising all that stuff to me would be the common sense approach, as we pave the road, raise everything along with it too. They're working on the 1.4 million on the sewer plant expansion. They've got a meeting with James and Robbie to go Thursday morning to look at the belt press system we want to go to. Look at one that's well worn. It's been working for years, so they're working on that. We'll have some changes when we go to the belt press system. Waste management won't haul our whatever, it's not just sludge or whatever that produces. They won't be able to haul it for us anymore. We'll have to contract with another company, but Waste Management has already met with our engineers over that. They're close to getting the water project stuff done with us and get that to us soon. The planning, we're still there. The Lytle Mobile Home Park, we're still reviewing by TRC. They were supposed to have sent, I never saw it Friday or today, everything on their drainage. That's kind of what's holding them up. The ball's in their court to send us all their drainage stuff to tell us how their drainage is going. I'd say drainage, stormwater runoff. And then we still have that, how to fix the traffic. You got $407,000 to spend on fixing stuff. So I think the best, in talking with the mayor and some other things, is we're going to try to install 2 left turn lanes. So if you're coming from 35 area, coming into town, and you're trying to make a left turn in, you would have to wait for the traffic coming out of town. So if they had a left turn lane, they could wait for traffic. Meanwhile, the other traffic could just continue by them. If you're headed out of town and you want to turn to the subdivision, there's nobody stopping you from turning in. Cars coming out of the subdivision can just wait until the traffic's cleared. it would be built in two phases. Phase one would be what's in the TechStop right of way. Phase two would be in our portion. So LD Crum, we're still waiting on the final planning on that. They're changing up their site plan because of the issue they found with not getting easement from the easement roads. They do have stuff working with TechStop for their actual driveway off the TechStop road. Saddle Ridge, I don't know if y'all been out there yet, but phase one is pretty much full. They've got a couple empty spots, but they don't appear to be building anything on them. I think they're leaving them vacant on purpose. They moved into phase 6, and they're moving pretty quick. They've already got 6 houses. I think it was 6 houses completely framed, sheeted in, and 2 of them look like they're about to get roofed. So they're moving really quick out there. They're working in 2 and 5, which is the final grading, raising of the manholes and the water meters, the boxes going in. We always talk about it in phases. I don't know if y'all knew this, so I kind of broke out the phases for you. Phase 1's where they're at. Phase 6, you can see all the homes going in up there already. And then 2 and 5 is that bottom section. Rosewood is still under construction. They should start utilities soon. They told me they will be pulling their people out. Kind of the rough grading for the roads, they'll pull them out, let CPS come in and take it over for 4, 5, 6 months, and they'll come back in and fix everything. And then Lotto Farms, we're just got the revised petition and everything in feasibility study in today on their amendment to the bid. Streetlights still working with CPS. We need to follow up with them and see where the timetable is on that street lighting project. James and them got the next 2. That's the speed limit signs, getting all of them up. We've got the basics up, to tell people what the speed limit is. We want to get some extra ones up. And then that North Somerset in front of the city park entrance, how that road drops off right there. We need to get that fixed. Public Works has been pretty busy. And, I've got them running all over the place fixing stuff lately. So that's still on our list now. Drainage, unfortunately, the Adams Street didn't qualify for CDBG. I'm looking at different things we can do there on that drainage, fixing that. We did the Lakeshore sites tonight. Live Oak Street, Mason Street, we're still having to work on that. That one's, I guess, on hold to get that. McCoy Lane, I've been out there, James, and we're getting that new water line extension put in. We'll hopefully get it completed this week, first part of next week, and good. Then we'll move on to the next ones. Nothing big on there. The private unmetered water meter on 2790, I'm gonna get the owner's information and probably send them a letter, tell them, hey, due to that leak, we've located this unmetered fire hydrant you have on your property, and by X date, we're gonna come out and remove it and cap it, and then we'll actually relocate that fire hydrant out to 2790 McCoy Lane. So they'll actually have a fire hydrant there, it just won't be all the way up at his house, out of the sight of everybody. Just an extension of all the contracts there, nothing big there. We are already working with Frontera on identifying ways, we're working with Frontera, but on the AT&T contract on how to best move forward. We've already identified some things that we could probably remove from that contract to save us some money that we don't really need. The idea behind it was good, but it's never worked out for us. So I can't see us paying extra for something that when AT&T goes down, all of AT&T goes down, our backup included. So no reason to have a backup if it goes down when the primary goes down anyways. So, and then we have other players in town finally that we may be able to use to leverage costs, hopefully. And Lincoln tax we talked about, just various meetings and stuff I'm attending, go throughout the process. I will be in a meeting, Mr. Kate, I'll probably call you this week on the sidewalk project that we submitted those the two new applications. So I'll get some background on it from you on the work you've done on it to understand it completely, because I will be going up to the TechStop office first part of March when they do the review of it. Just to, did you go to the first one at the TechStop?
It's still a preliminary.
Yeah. We submitted the preliminary application, and now it's just a review of that preliminary application at their office in San Antonio.
Yeah, I want to say one of those during COVID, I think, so it was all, there was no face-to-face, it was all, Zoom or whatever, Teams, or whatever we used. I think that they, if I'm remembering correctly, they had a handful of questions.
Okay.
I think based on what we had discussed last time, that the fact that those projects on the state rights or whatever, really, that worked in our favor.
Okay. I just want to give you to make sure I've got, just a little more background maybe.
Yeah, it should still be like a Google link.
It is, I still use that Google link. Everything you had, the only thing I did, I worked with Kimberly Horn and we raised, they said, hey, use this percentage and we raised it that much on the overall cost. But everything else stayed the same, so it was a really easy process to get it submitted. The current sidewalk project, the TxDOT's moving forward with it. It's going to be streamlined really quick because they've got to let the project in October because of when the funding cycle is going to stop on it. The issue we're going to run into is if they identify any of our utilities that have to be relocated, that may be a deal breaker for us. And if they come back and they bid this project and it's far more, I don't know. We'll have to come back to the council. But they're going to go out and do all their site work. Luckily, Kimberly Horn, and talking to them when they designed that, they don't believe any of our utilities are in their way. We should be okay. But I know we had a big meeting with everybody that had utilities from AT&T to Seek to everybody. And if it is in conflict with their sidewalk, it is your responsibility and 100% of your cost to relocate the utilities. So if we have got to go start moving water lines and stuff like that, that may be a deal breaker for you. So, but we'll wait and see. I'm hoping it's not. Luckily, the lady that's heading this, her mom lives here in Lytle, and she's like, stay on afterwards, and we discussed an issue, and she loves Lytle. She wants to help us as best we can. So hopefully that's a deal to move forward.
It being a deal breaker, that's about $4.5 million. So really identify those problems, try to figure out a way.
I'm hoping we can pay for it, but if we've got to remove all the utilities that are along that, well, I hope not.
I don't think, James, any utilities out there, you're kind of familiar with the general.
Water and gas all the way.
James says everything sits on top of them.
It sits on top of them?
All of it.
Got
Kimberly
to get
Horn,
elevated top.
Kimberly Horn said they believe the utilities are deep enough that this concrete can just sit on top. If there's ever a leak, we just have to saw concrete. But if we don't want them under the concrete, yeah, it's a lot of utility relocation. A lot of it, according to James.
There's an AC line that runs all the way to the railroad track.
How deep is that? 4 feet?
So it's 4 feet, and then gas, you got gas that runs to 681.
How deep is that?
So it's 3 or 4 foot.
So, I mean, they're only gonna go down maybe a foot, if even
Yeah.
that. They should be going any deeper than a foot.
Luckily, talking with Kimberly Horn, they don't believe there's any. But I just want to make sure we get it out because they told us in that meeting, if it's in the way, you have to move it. And not whatever you feel, you have to move it by X date or else kind of thing.
We'll wait to see. And once we get that,
We should have something pretty soon on that.
be able to take care of that. Thanks, Matt. A lot of moving parts. We got a lot of stuff going on. Okay, any questions for Matt? Okay, let's go ahead and move on to number 8, executive session called pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Subchapter D, Section 551.071, consultations with the attorney, 551.07, real property discussions, and 551.074, personal matters to discuss and consider the following items. A, update report on pending city litigation. You have an update, okay, so we don't have anything on that one. And B, which was one of the ones that was added, discussion regarding potential sale of property located on 15126 Oak Street, Lytle, Texas. We do have something on that, so Paula, if you can please show us. It is at 9:31. We're going to go ahead and go into chambers. And
Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Put your microphone
Paula,
on,
if you
sir.
can show us back, it's 9, sorry, you show us back at 9:49. No action was taken. Let's go ahead and jump right into number 9, discussion and possible action on items discussed in executive session.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that council authorize the city administrator to proceed with the attempt to purchase the property that we discussed in the executive session.
Okay. Got a motion on the floor? Got a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, council. Let's go ahead and go right into number 10. We've done a lot, covered a lot today. It's been very productive, but we have information. Any information sharing we need to go ahead and do? Go around the room. Paula? Anything at all? Any last minute stuff? Anything? Luke?
I don't know anything.
Just to make sure. Any last minute stuff? Jesse, anything? No?
I just want to remind everybody about the fish fry on St. Andrews Fridays. It's, they're fried during Lent, and it's $6 for one fillet and $9 for two fillet.
And it is very good. That's very good. Yeah, it's good. They do a good fish fry. We look forward to those fish fries.
That's all trimmings go with it.
Yeah.
French fries and coleslaw.
Okay, so
It's good. It's really good. And if you buy 6 or more, they deliver?
Yeah.
Something like that, right? Yeah. They also help out with those. Anything else? Nothing at all? Nothing at all? All right. Okay, first of all, just want to go ahead and thank PD. Been very busy with a lot of activities. Covering for Richie. Luke, we had to cover for your dad a lot. So they did a great job overall. And I also wanted to say special thanks for all the UIL participation. It's not only the sports, but we also had some other UIL competitions. And PD came through. So we appreciate all that. We're going to take care of that. Special thanks to Matt for working with the Little League. He started talking about that. He put a lot of effort in that. It's going to be a lot better than we've done in the past. It's 9 days, so we really appreciate all the help with that. Also, want to thank him for his involvement with the Tech Stop project right in front of us, and also Public Works and Wayne helping out with taking care of the front, getting the prep with that palm tree, and getting everything ready to go along with that. Matt has been very involved with the frontage road project that we have over here. As far as I know, they're supposed to get done this week with giving us two-way road. James is nodding the head and saying that's not going to happen. So that's supposed to be on the best western side. That's what they're estimating. The side on the Bill Millers, we're still looking until late summer, fall time frame for them to get done. So keep our fingers crossed. I know I'll be on the phone asking some questions here the next couple of days, but that's what they're supposed to do. Now, that doesn't mean that they're completely done. They're supposed to still work on the sides with the sidewalks and work on the curbs, but they're supposed to give us two-way on the road. So stand by on that one. I want to thank Paula and Matt and James for all your assistance in getting the first community outreach event started. That went really, really well. I got a lot of good feedback, and I already had folks even today that are asking when the next one is going to be. So I think people are talking and people are looking forward. So, and we need to include AEP in that next one too, for some of that utility assistance stuff. Make sure that we do that. So thank you for all your help on that one. I want to say congrats to school districts. If you haven't heard the film documentary, the team of folks that are in there, they won at state. So that's pretty big. Our girls basketball team actually went pretty far. And then in this year's selection, we were a little bit heartbroken. We were hoping to actually go to state just because they had a great team, and it didn't work itself out. I know the girls tried really hard, but for some reason, certain things didn't work out. It's not good when 3 of your players get fouled out. So that's hard. Starters, yeah, it hurt. It hurt. There's some other things, but I'll keep those comments to myself. I'll just say that our Pirates should have been there without a doubt. They did a really good job. We do have the boys basketball team tomorrow, Richie, you had mentioned 2 o'clock as a send-off. So they're going to start their wave. So they're already district champs by district, so they're going for area. And then if they do win tomorrow, then they'll actually be Friday and Saturday this coming week, and they'll complete the whole regional tournament that goes along with that. Powerlifting is doing really good too. We got quite a few folks that are going to be going to state, so stay on track of that. Track, baseball, softball, I mean, you name it, everybody's doing really good. So we got a lot of activities that are happening along with that. Just a reminder, and Santi, the yard sale, please get the word out. You're still taking items, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so please get info out that's helped them collect as much items. They'll help them bring in some additional revenue so they can take care of folks and their pets. Seniors get together 16 March, right? This is not a meal. This is their get together where they bring their own. But please get the word out to encourage folks to. This is open to everybody, so I encourage folks to be doing that. The April one is the one where we're going to go ahead and do the meal, and we're also going to have the community outreach program in conjunction with that, with a few other things that are going to come along with that. Right around the corner, the music festival. So it's going to get busier as we get ready for that. So a lot of prep work and different things. A lot of excitement on that too. So please make sure we encourage folks to come over and spend some time with that. 24th and the 25th. March. Right around the corner.
I'll probably spend a week of my time in the park with the parks guy and probably public works guy, really trying to revamp some stuff over there.
Yep.
Got a lot of work done in just one day, so we'll be out there and knock some more out.
So it's going to get busy. We got a lot of stuff during that time, but it's a great time for us to shine. And some of the folks are already thinking about other things to do later on in the year, maybe next year too. So it's just a bridge that goes along with that. And Matt already took care of getting our fireworks. So we're set for 4th of July. We're going to have a very good show for the 4th of July. So that's going to be great. Also, let's help our departments out with animal control, hiring, public works, and like Richie said, with PD. So use your networks to go ahead and get the information out and let folks know. Let's help each other out with that. Birthdays, March, your boss. So Frank actually birthday on the 7th of March. So a little bit. Just throw a party and give them the bill. How's that sound? You know, and be able to do that. And then we have we got Lynette and Rachel on the 12th of March. I know we still have a little bit of time, but just wanted to go ahead and announce that. And since the birthdays for the month of March. Any last minute thing? Anything else that popped up that we need to mention and share? Okay. We don't have anything else. Can I get a motion? It's 9:57 for us to go ahead and adjourn. There.
We adjourn, man.
Okay, got a motion on the floor.
I'll second that.
Got a second? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Lots got done tonight. Thank you.